Let's blast off. There's a lot to talk about today. We got a lot going on. What the fuck? Melania Trump, my story, my perspective, my truth. Okay, anyway. Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, and others outed as paid Russian propagandists. Dude, I love that story so much. God damn, dude. Yo, shit made me love the DOJ. You know what I mean? Shit made me love the motherfucking Department of Justice, dude. That's a great story. It's so fun. It's so fucking fun. I love that. I love that shit. Oh God, give it to me. Inject it directly into my fucking veins, you know? All right, Dim Fool, Dave Rubin, others outed as paid Russian propagandists by DOJ. What was I gonna do? What was I gonna say? There was a lot more going on. Been boned up for 2 days now. What does boned up mean? Another opt down, RIP Bozo Pagwatch. Yeah. You see Tim Pool's dad calling the Majority Report? No, I did not. I don't really care about that part of it that much, though, honestly. I wish all states would do this for voting. Okay, calm down. Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, others outed as paid Russian propagandists by DOJ. Kamala reveals new policies. Looking at polls. Is mainstream media plays catch up on BB's fuck ups on ceasefire. Year of vindication continues. My boner has lasted for 48 hours. I would say go to the doctor, but at this point, I think it's not going to help, you know? Isn't the thing that they say you got to go to the doctor after 4 hours? I feel like if your boner has been going on for 48, I mean, just, you know, take the L or the W, depending on your situation, I guess. I mean, you're probably cooked, though. You're honestly most likely cooked. I'll be real. Yeah, I saw the new Pat Bev viral clip. Where is, do we have a blast off meme? Macron named the traditional right wing not far right. Oh, Barnier becomes new French PM and bids end to turmoil. Great. Thank you, Macron. Very nice. Fucking piece of shit. Give me a goddamn blast off meme, dude. Come on. Melon got ambushed and serenaded too. Okay, I got one. I'm just going to use the autism one, okay? Chat is literally on their own shit. We're not locked in right now, okay? As a community, we're not locked in. We're not. I'm going to tell you why. Chat is all up in their own fucking fifis right now, doing the damn thing. When I ask for a particular one, like I asked for a particular thing in the chat, when we're locked in, there's actually chatters who are actually trying to send me exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes it might get a little confusing. I understand. Okay. Other times, though, chat gets into a mood where everyone's got their own pet project and they're just trying to fucking wing in that favor. You know, you're just lobbying. You're just lobbying off the top dome, off the rip, trying to hit whatever lines you want to hit. Okay. You're like, watch this shit instead. We're not doing that right now. Okay. We're not doing that right now. We're just blasting off first and foremost, okay? We're gonna get to all of your personal pet projects. Like, there's still chatters literally doing it in the chat. They're like, no, I don't care. I'm not listening to a goddamn thing you have to say. Okay? Shut the fuck up, Hassan. Look at my goddamn link. Okay? I don't give a fuck. Are you trying to run a show? I don't care. Are you trying to cover the news? I don't give a shit. I have a YouTube video or a Twitter link that you must look at. You must do that now. Drop everything and look at my shit right fucking now, son. We're not doing that. We're instead blasting off right now. Okay? We're blasting off. We're blasting the fuck off. Here's your playlist, you freak. Thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. You cost me all my points yesterday. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I cooked a lot yesterday, so that's kind of on you for not believing in the right times. Okay. We blasted the fuck off, Samurai. We got a city to burn. Okay. That's right. Here it is. Bro, 186 likes on this. We're washed. I'm washed. I'm fucking done. I'm washed, son. I'm washed. Why do I blast the fuck off if this is what we're doing? That's crazy. This is when chatter, you got cooked, old man. It's over. Community is done. Donezo. We're done. I'm done. I'm out. All right. Before we get into the Tim Pool stuff, a little bit of housekeeping. Okay, here's the convo I had with Jason yesterday in the midst of a school shooting coverage. Bro, I'm in the middle of covering a school shooting right now.
Oh, what? Oh, my fault.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show my hair. Oh, shit.
Your hair looks great.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks fire. Hold on. I'm gonna put it on here. I'll show you. I'll show Chad.
Nah, did you do something with your
Jason the
facial
Ween
hair?
is
I'm already seeing all the handsomes in the chat. What a cute boys in the chat.
it's not Austin, it's Jason Ween.
What?
It looks good, man. You look more twinkish than I've ever seen you before. Why is this guy forced on us so much? Shut your old ass up, okay? I really like Jason, bitch. Shut your old ass up, Unc, okay? Why ain't this guy forced on us then, man? Shut the fuck up, bitch. Shut up. I'm forcing it, okay? I am. I'm the one forcing it. God damn. You goddamn 58-year-old curmudgeons in the goddamn chat, dude. Holy shit. He's nice. He's wholesome. He's funny. I like him. He is ass. Stop acting like a Zoomer. Lazan. You just wrote Lazan, bitch. Shut the fuck up. Gross ass fucking 38-month subscribers in the chat. Getting fucking insanely annoying. Okay? Get it? Immediately. We have deviated away from political commentary. Can we get back to that, please? Anyway, here's the Crash Dummies podcast defending my honor.
So it's like y'all really did a podcast. I used to like y'all. Y'all did a podcast with Hassan.
Yeah.
I always forget that he's really popular, so he has a lot of like haters too.
Yeah, whoever said that, die slow. Man,
He said, whoever said that, die slow.
Hassan could do no wrong in life. Whatever he say, I said it. Fuck it. You diss Hassan, you diss me.
But yeah, we'd definitely be back out there to do some more collabs and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like y'all.
I think Jason's hair looks nice, by the way. I wasn't even joking about that. We will break out those precios on. Yeah, they were great. These stupid ass chatters are the reason why other communities don't like us. Fuck them, bro. Jason is cool as fuck. Yeah. Listen, even if you have like a negative opinion of a host or like any kind of person that I have on the podcast or any kind of person I'm looking at, keep that shit to your damn self. Okay? How about that? Here's advice. Okay? Shutting the fuck up is $0. You know, it's cheap. It's free. You don't have to be annoying all the time. You know, you can let people enjoy shit. You should also figured out by now that, like, you know, if I have someone on the show and I like them and they haven't done anything like insanely inappropriate, like really fucked up, like, why would I ever shit on them? Like, as a content creator myself, I understand the bar for content creation is like a content creator having like a good community is incredibly difficult. You know what I mean? Most people just lean into not doing that. So as soon as I see someone like doing, like taking the initiative to ensure that they have like a nice, wholesome community overall, like I'm gonna fucking respect that. You know? It's funny because it's the same chatters that get upset when chats from other streamers get aggro on you. I know. You don't understand. I'm going through politics withdrawals. I got the shakes. JVP Free Palestine says that. Right after that, Pew poll, 70% of Jewish Israelis say it should be forbidden to express on social media platforms any sympathy for civilians in Gaza. Nice. Good stuff, man. Chatters can't be charitable. Content creators who are charitable to you, especially when you have so many fucking haters. I know. Chatters trying to make this community weirdly exclusive and it hurts the community. I know. I mean, that's gatekeeping though. I forget that I am a commodity that you consume. Like I'm just a media product and not like a human being. So in many respects, a lot of people probably want to gatekeep, right? And it's just, that's what it is. People want to keep this community like tight knit, right? They don't want other people coming in here. They don't want other people coming in here and fucking up the bag, fucking up the fun for them, right? And that's where it comes from usually, where people have this idea where they're like, no, we don't want you collabing with these people. But it's crazy because like the community's gotten so fucking old, dude. Y'all are old as hell, and so am I. We gotta get some young blood in here. Is your dog dead? Yes, she's dead. Dude, no, fuck that. That's leadership perspective. You're not a commodity. There's no need to gatekeep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My entire goal is to like have a massive community of like-minded individuals who are understanding and open-minded. Thank you, Majority Report, for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. A Majority Report. And, you know, for that, like, if you, yeah, you got to get, like, you got to get people on board. All right. Wait, bro, what happened to the dog? Bro, what do you mean? She's just sleeping like she does every day because I work her ass out in the mornings. I've never watched a streamer that is so involved with chat that has 20K constant viewers. Yes, I care about my community a lot. That's why I yell a lot at my community, which can be a little jarring for a lot of people who are uninitiated and not used to this sort of thing. And they go, what the fuck? How is this happening? This guy's just straight up yelling at me. What's that about? All right, top news stories of the day. We're going to start off with, obviously, new details emerge on the school shooting in Georgia. 2 students and 2 teachers were killed in a high school shooting in Georgia. School is back. And maybe some of you just found out in the most American way possible by yet another gruesome, horrific school shooting. Classic. How could this have happened, we say, in a country where it happens all the time?
And that's where we're going to begin, with a lot of hurting hearts and a lot of hate, it seems, in this country. It's happened again in another American community reeling from deadly gun violence. Here's what we know so far. It happened at Appalachia High School, that's in Barrow County, Georgia, about 45 miles east of Atlanta. Investigators say that a student opened fire, killing 2 other students, both of them just 14 years old, and 2 teachers. The weapon was an AR-style rifle. 9 others have been hurt, and the alleged killer is also 14 years old. His name, we're told, is Colt Gray, and he is now in custody. He has been charged with murder, and prosecutors say that he will be tried as an adult.
This is the deadliest school shooting in Georgia's history. 14-year-old Marquez Coleman saw the shooter open fire.
I'm sitting like this, and the door is like this. So something just told me to look to my left. I look to my left. I see a kid with he had like a big gun, it was like an AR. With the he got his head sticking out the door with the gun, and then he just started. Then I got up, I started running. He started shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times, and then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk, and my teacher had got in front of me like he was guarding. But like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking, like, and everything. And then when he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with desks, bookshelves, and all that. And then I had got up. When I had got up, I had saw one of my classmates on the ground, bleeding so bad.
Marquez's father said his son called him during the shooting, screaming and crying. Later, he found a bullet hole in a laptop marked by a bullet in his son's backpack. Mark Strassman is in Barrow County, Georgia, with the latest. Mark, good morning.
This chatter is correct. Chatters, they're trying him as an adult specifically because they want to use capital punishment to make an example. Now, there's a couple different perspectives here. One, in the state of Georgia, there are certain crimes that you can be charged as an adult as, even if you're a minor when you commit them. Obviously, killing 4 people would be one of those crimes. Having said that, however, capital punishment obviously is a punishment for a crime such as this one for adults in the state of Georgia, despite the fact that it is declared unconstitutional for, I believe, minors to be subjected to adult punishments in general. Specifically, I think specifically the death penalty. Now, having said that, it will be a wonderful new Supreme Court cycle where they will make that, permissible eventually. So that'll be cool. Because in the United States of America, we don't necessarily understand that, like, we and our culture, in terms of like how quickly we go, oh, we should kill this person, we should kill this 14-year-old, is probably playing a role in having more 14-year-olds just like that shooter develop in this incredibly violent culture. But, that's neither here nor there. It's additionally insane to have this conversation because the reason why you do the death penalty, like the arguments for the death penalty, which I am against, by the way, unconditionally, is it's a deterrence. Except the overwhelming majority of mass shootings already end with the death penalty right there because most of those people either want to die with a suicide by cop or just kill themselves after they're done killing a bunch of people. So, you know, kind of a stupid fucking deterrence. It's not a deterrence at all. It's just pure, I'm seeing red. I want to act like I'm doing something. I'm satiating the masses that have a thirst for blood. I'm quenching their thirst by killing this 14-year-old, you know, that is now in the custody of the state. That's basically it. A lot of people forget that the criminal justice system is not there for like immediate vengeance. It's there so that we have rules, regulations, restrictions, punishments, with the overarching goal of, you know, ensuring that people just don't do violent crimes, either by way of deterrence or by way of rehabilitation. And we've completely lost sight of that. I think the average American genuinely, I think about this a lot. The average American, I think, genuinely looks at the criminal justice system as like a vehicle to do harm to people who have done harm to others. And that's literally not the point. Like, that's not the point at all. That has never been the point. That's not, like, we are not medieval peasants, okay? What the fuck are you thinking? What are you saying? And yet it is such a commonly held belief, commonly held attitude, even in a very progressive community such as this one. It's actually one of those issues. It's actually one of those issues that I talk about quite a bit, because I'm obviously in favor of you know, prisoners having more rights, more liberties, and our criminal justice system completely being revamped to focus on rehabilitation rather than incarceration in an effort to reduce recidivism in this country, which are pretty fucking high. But whenever this conversation comes up, and it doesn't have to come up in the midst of like a very obviously emotional mass shooting that happens all the fucking time, right? Even if I'm talking about it offhanded, you know, just generally talking about like the horrifying conditions in our prisons or whatever, people literally will come in and be like, what if a super serial rapist pedophile, like, you know, killed your mom and then your entire family, like, what then? And it's like, this does not change the analysis. Like, in that immediate moment, your retaliation and the things that you want to do to this fucking horrifying murderer does not change the reality that, like, that's not how the criminal justice system is supposed to work, okay? That's why you're not the judge, okay? There is an impartial, supposedly impartial third party that is supposed to be looking at the situation and analyzing it evenly. That's why you're not sitting on the fucking jury, dumbass, you know? And thank God for that, because a lot of people get falsely fucking implicated in crimes and shit. And you don't want people that are falsely implicated in crimes to go to prison permanently or even killed. That's the whole point. It's like, oh, what if your mother was killed? What would you want in that situation? It's like, yeah, I know. I would probably also be emotional in that circumstance, but that's precisely why you're not the fucking jury, nor the executioner, nor the judge. 40-month sub, gun reform, killed a child. It's case by case. No, the kid is not going to be implicated playing devil's advocate. Anyway, what's crazy about it is that in terms of this story, there are a lot of parties that are responsible for this death and destruction. Okay? Obviously, first and foremost, the 14-year-old. But that's still a fucking minor. That's like barely a sentient being, okay? That is a baby. Do you understand? So we have to immediately look at the situation and go, how the fuck did a 14-year-old get to this goddamn point? Okay, there's a reason why we analyze minors and adults differently, okay? Because if you have this energy for a 14-year-old, okay, what's going to happen when you got a fucking 10-year-old that does this shit next time? You know what I mean? And by the way, that is a thing that has happened before in the United States of America. I forget how old the youngest school shooter is, but I think it was like literally a kindergartner before who like tried to shoot her fucking teacher. Luckily, he failed. Or was it a 6-year-old? Yeah, it was something like that. It was like something insane, which is the most American story of all time. So, like, using the capital punishment as a deterrence strategy in this conversation is additionally stupid because like that's not how mass shooters work. You know what I mean? Mass shooters more often than not have no care or consideration for their fucking lives. You understand? So you're not even doing deterrence in this situation. You're not even like technically pointing to like a theoretical deterrence. Okay? It's pretty crazy. The kids' parents should be held responsible. And they most likely will be. There are, because in the United States of America, this is such a commonplace thing that we have like other instances, other incidents, other mass shootings we can draw from. There is already a legal precedent. This happened, I believe, either last year or like 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly when it happened. God damn, it happens so much. Okay. What about a maniac, genocidal mass murder like Netanyahu, rehab or capital punishment? What about medical experimentation as a punishment? Dude, again, you're talking about vengeance and not justice. Okay. Talking about vengeance and not justice. And it's also stupid to have this conversation about fucking war criminals who are literally at the top of entire countries engaging in genocide. Okay. They have an entirely separate set of motivations at that point. Okay. They're not even human. I'm not going to entertain this conversation right now. I'm having a normal conversation about like how criminal justice is supposed to work. Okay. And yeah, Puyi is a good answer for the Netanyahu answer, obviously, but that's besides the point. You know, send him to the motherfucking work camps. But we'll get that. We'll get there in a second. Okay. Yeah. Send him to the work camps. Have him fucking rehabilitate. Have him come out of that a new man, you know? Yeah. James Crumbly and Michigan school shooter's parents sentenced to 10 years in prison for not stopping a runaway train. Yeah. This was the first ever parents convicted in a U.S. mass school shooting, and they were sentenced to at least 10 years in prison Tuesday as a Michigan judge lamented missed opportunities that could have prevented their teenage son from possessing a gun and killing 4 students in 2021. The mass shooting happened in 2021. The court case obviously continued well into 2024, and the conviction came a couple months ago. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about here with respect to like the additional details and the FBI's involvement, which are fucking I mean, it's crazy. What is this? Then why did you stream yourself shooting automatic weapons for content? What? Because I like shooting guns. That doesn't, but I'm not a fucking dumbass who thinks that we shouldn't have any restrictions whatsoever. We should have all of the restrictions. I do not necessarily have an issue with shooting guns in general, okay? But I also understand what guns are for. Okay? Guns are for killing. That's it. That's the one purpose of a weapon. You can't use it for anything else. You can't use it to fucking, cook your food. You can't use it for travel, transportation. There's no other utility for a gun. It's just, a lethal machine, a machine of murder. Okay? And hunting is still lethal. Okay, you're proving the point that I'm making. You can't use a gun as a fucking paperweight, The primary purpose of a gun is to kill. And therefore, if that is the case, then we should probably have severe restrictions on who can get it, how they can get it, and ensure that it's not as simple as just walking into a goddamn Walmart and then being able to open carry it out of there. Do you understand? Yes, I understand your point. Yeah, but you still wanted to talk shit because I shot weapons and will continue to shoot weapons for content in the future because you're a goddamn liberal who cares about the optics more than the actual words that are coming out of my fucking mouth when serious people are having serious conversations about serious issues. I get it too. Don't worry. You're a concerned trolling radlib in the chat who's like, well, how can you have any opinions on gun control when I've seen you fucking shoot guns? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, why did you stream yourself driving a car but hate when people run over grandmas? Well, first of all, I do also like to always, investigate a little further. Did the grandma have bad fucking vibes, for example? Anyway, I just learned that as of 2022, our civilian gun ownership rates are the highest in the world, higher than places like Serbia and Yemen. Yes, Yemen is the number 2. Oh, you're missing an important function of guns. Bud Light cans aren't going to blast themselves. Listen, until a gun like this one can serve a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, I will forever tell you that the only purpose for these things is murder. Okay? That's it. At the top of the hour, I serve you the 3-minute ad break, not the gun. What? So you advocating for eliminating any elements of retribution and justice? I mean, that's like the entire point of delegating punishment to the state. Like everyone want to make their matter in their own hands, but that will just cause chaos for society. So the government inherits the responsibility. I believe that rehabilitation and retribution can go hand in hand. No, dude, it's not retribution. What the fuck are you talking about? That is not justice at all. What the fuck do you mean retribution? Who the fuck are you? Are you an anime villain? What do you mean? This is villain speak, dog. Like every fucking popular media that uses that terminology is usually a villain. You understand that, right? Retribution. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not the purpose of the fucking criminal justice system, dumbass. Also, I never said shit is sweet. It's not like restricting someone's freedoms is going to be a fun process, okay? Try it out. Let me lock you in a fucking cage for an extended period of time and tell you when to fucking wake up and when to go to sleep and what you can and can't do, that you can't see your loved ones. And then you can tell me if that's not like punishment, okay? Of course, prison isn't sweet anyway. The problem is the way we analyze it is retribution because you're an American and every American has that Sephiroth in their fucking minds. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. What's your take on guns don't kill people? People kill people. Yeah, people do kill people. It's just guns make it a lot easier to kill a lot of people, especially assault weapons. And yes, that is a distinction. Okay. Before people go, actually, how could you make those restrictions? It's like, you can. Okay. We have. And, you know, the AR platform in general straight up is designed to more efficiently murder a bunch of people. Very little recoil. A kid can fucking use it. Okay. Straight up, especially if you have optics on that bad boy, dude. The entire purpose of that is to murk as many people as possible without having to reload quickly. Anyway, here is the 3-minute ad break now, by the way, before we move on. Yeah, research shows more guns equals more death. Therefore, if you can isolate the variable and the variable results in more death, then it's the guns doing it, not the people. Yes. Do you think California's assault weapons classifications are valid? I think half of the items on that list are pointless. Yeah, there's a lot of stupid fucking loophole laws. There's a lot of patchwork laws that they have, okay? In the state of California, you can't have a pistol grip on an AR style weapon, okay? You can't have a pistol grip on it. It's fucking annoying, all right? The real problems, in my opinion, come from, like, giving anyone and everyone a fucking gun, okay? Like, there are reasonable, common sense gun safety measures, okay, that other countries where there are guns that people can go out and purchase that need to be implemented here, okay? You need to get a psychiatric evaluation before you get a gun. You need to have multiple people offer like a personality witness or whatever the fuck it's called before you should be able to get a gun, okay? And those people could be held legally liable if you do something crazy with that gun. We have the absolute dumbest fucking gun laws. We have no gun laws at all. Dog, we have, I think this was in Georgia, actually, but we literally have ammunition automatic vending machines. Like there was a company that was trying to do a startup for ammo vending machines, man. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? Texas. Yeah. Character witness is the term I was forgetting. How about no guns at all, Hassan? I mean, look, I think that is utopian. I agree with it. A disarmed society is a significantly better society than an armed one. Abso-fucking-lutely. Okay? Look at Japan. Perfect example. It's just that in the United States of America, when there are currently more guns in circulation than there are people, that is impossible. Especially because we have to absolutely take baby steps. God, I love how a leftist that preaches material analysis can't imagine why disarming a populace may not be the best idea, or how we can make strides in reducing violence without taking away the best tool to ward off oppressors. Not even mentioning the fact that gun control isn't even a thing anymore. Anyone with an internet connection, a 3D printer, and access to a hardware store can make a gun anywhere in the world. You're right, brother. You're absolutely right. Hey, also, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like we're a genocidal state currently, engaging in a genocide We are a fascist state already by your metric. I haven't really seen the well-armed society actually rise up against their masters in any meaningful capacity. So perhaps it has nothing to do with that at all. Maybe you should go take a fucking shower, sister. Okay? Sorry. Goddamn anarchist, dude. Fantasizing about a fucking revolution that will come. A friend of mine invented a magazine attachment for ARs that fit a loophole in California's AR laws. After he killed himself with a pistol, the NRA paid for his wife's lawyers to get back the guns that were seized. Hard to literally fight against guns. That's awesome. I think Jace Orangetail took the political power comes out of the barrel of a gun bit too literally. I know. Anyway, it's such a stupid fucking conversation to be had, dude. It's also funny because like it's completely made up. Okay? It is completely like a relatively new way of thinking in terms of how guns should be calculated. And the materialist analysis in this circumstance is actually that guns are a commodity that American manufacturers produce, and therefore Americans that have nothing else, no sense of community, no sense of purpose in their lives, and are heavily alienated, actually associate themselves with commodities. It is the only formative cultural signifier that you can point to. Okay? And guns is heavily associated. The Second Amendment, and rather the modern interpretation of the Second Amendment, is a way that they've sold it to the fucking public. This is how you become an American, baby. You take a gun and you shoot it. You shoot the gun, okay? Just aim the barrel downrange. So it's always really funny whenever like leftists and anarchists and shit come in here and they start chirping at me about like, you know, the proletariat revolution will occur inevitably with the guns that we have acquired. You know, revolution happens at the barrel of a gun or whatever the fuck. Yeah, you're right. That's what's crazy, by the way, is that like the interpretation of the Second Amendment is unironically a relatively new phenomenon in the history of the United States. And it was conducted by material interests at play. Like gun manufacturers created a gun lobby. They actually heavily lobbied the government to ensure that you could have a steady flow of weapons that people could purchase. Post-Vietnam, there was a lot of surplus of military gear, specifically military rifles. What did you do with that surplus? You either got to sell it to other countries, which we do, right? Or you sell it to the American people. The beauty of the AR platform is that it also is so customizable that it creates entire cottage industries on top of that. You got the optics, you got the handles, you got different stocks that you can use. That's why it was the single most profitable. It's the F-150 of weapons, okay? It is. It's like a fucking Lego. AR-15 is Legos for adults. It straight up is. It's all money, okay? It's moneyed interests. But you will never understand that until you live in the United States of America, okay? And as someone who didn't originally grow up here, when I first came to America, I couldn't understand it either. I was shocked. And in my effort to better understand gun culture, as I was covering it quite a bit, quite extensively, I learned about it. I shot guns, okay? And I enjoyed it. This has not changed my opinion on gun control even a little bit. If anything, it has solidified my opinion on the necessity for common sense gun violence prevention measures in this goddamn country. Okay? It is insane. And you have to be a complete fucking dumbass to not recognize that. Okay? You have been duped by larger powers at play here. Companies that have an interest in maintaining the current way of the current order of society so that they can keep selling you weapons, toys. The funniest part about gun safety is, you know who knows gun safety better than anyone else? The fucking hogs at the goddamn shooting range. Okay? Because when you're interacting with someone who is uninitiated with guns, you have to be extra careful. Okay? You have to be extra careful because you give a fucking pussy ass libtard a weapon and you stand next to them. If they accidentally turn around with the weapon in their hands, all of a sudden you can get killed. You understand? Why are they so careful and considerate when they're at the range? But that consideration and carefulness does not carry on beyond the range. Why does that not extend beyond the gun range? In that moment, when they have a random guy that they don't know, okay, holding a fucking gun, that's the moment that they know how fucking dangerous a gun can actually be. Okay? Kaya. No. Place, baby. Good girl. They consider it a personal responsibility. I don't agree, just saying. Yeah. That's not what laws are written for, though. Laws are written for the stupidest person in mind, okay? That's the entire purpose. Just because you're safe doesn't mean other people are going to be, which is why you have to have some rules. These are preventative measures. These are preventative measures that look, let me tell you something. One aspect of gun culture being so fucking broken in the United States of America is the cops. Every other country on the planet, cops are literally at the forefront of restricting weapons, okay? They are always the ones advocating to restrict more weapons, sometimes to an insane degree, as a matter of fact. Cops in America, though, they're such hogs that they're like, hell yeah, brother, Second Amendment all the way. It's like, hey, dumbass, it's making your job harder. You fucking idiot. You're so stupid. It's so dumb. And before you say, Hassan, you want cops to be the only people with fucking weapons? No, I want to demilitarize the police as well. You cannot have gun control without also demilitarizing the police. The American police force is insanely gunned up. Okay? Like the average fucking cop that pulls you over shouldn't have a goddamn arsenal in their tank, okay? Because when you're a hammer, everything looks like a fucking nail. Oh, by the way, after Uvalde, this is what Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp did, signing a bill allowing guns to be carried without a license. Hell yeah, brother. Thank you so much. My goat. But yeah, let's get back to this story.
Good morning, Nate. The FBI now says that local deputies questioned the suspect and his father last year. The reason at the time, online threats to carry out a school shooting by the suspect, who was 13 years old at the time. But the father told deputies that his son had no access to guns in the house. The suspect denied making those threats at the time, and so there were no arrests until yesterday.
First responders rushed to Appalachia High School around 10:20 Wednesday morning after getting reports of an active shooter. Investigators say 2 school resource officers quickly encountered a 14-year-old student with an AR platform-style weapon inside the school. They say he quickly surrendered.
By the way, you want to know something so evil about this shit? Here's a fun little fact. It's not so fun. It's pretty grim, but, you know, I'll say fun regardless. You know when the highest point of fucking gun sales actually is? Democratic leadership after a school shooting. Gun sales go up. People go out right after a mass shooting and purchase the weapons. So even this kind of coverage where they single out the AR platform, right? That actually plays well. That actually plays to the interest of the NRA. Now, let me explain something about the NRA to you, by the way, before we continue on with this story. If gun-free zones did not fucking work, why don't the Republicans at the RNC allow everyone to open carry? Why doesn't the NRA, when they do their conventions, allow people to open carry? I don't get it. It seems so strange to me that these guys say guns make people more safe, and yet the least safe place on the planet is the NRA convention. Fascinating stuff. I wonder how, and I wonder why. The least safe place by the NRA's metric of safety is an NRA convention because ain't nobody's got guns. Ain't nobody got guns there. Woke as hell. Why are Americans so infatuated with firearms? We're infatuated with things that we consume. Guns are a commodity. It is one of the only things you have. You know, it's no different than a Funko Pop. It's no different than like a handbag. You know what I mean? It comes with a sense of a community, a shared purpose, shared goals, a commodity that you're consuming. There's like a culture surrounding it. That's it. We fetishize guns just like any other goddamn commodity. We make fun of, oh, the girlies and their Stanley cups and their, you know, handbags that are $3,000. And then you go and you buy a $3,000 gun with all the motherfucking kit, with all of the different parts associated with it. Lacey X Obama. Yeah, I don't believe this is going to be probably an Obama impersonator, but that's funny. Not gonna lie, you guys are kind of weird. I know, dude. I know.
Shooting began, they interacted with the shooter, and as soon as they made contact with him, he gave up immediately.
The sheriff credits a fast response to school faculty. They alerted law enforcement to an active situation using a button on ID cards, a new system he said had been in use for only about a week.
The heroes that we need to remember is our faculty and staff here at this school.
Did this guy get shot in the ear too? This guy's ear is more shot than Donald Trump's ear, bro. What the fuck happened? He's got like a hole up there. What the hell? I've never seen an ear like that, man. That's crazy. Probably skin cancer. Yeah, maybe.
Acted admirably. The protocols at this school and this system activated, prevented this from being a much larger tragedy.
Yeah, he got his shit busted at Claire's, dude. That's what happens. That's what happens when you get a fucking when you get your ears pierced at Claire's, dog. Fucked up. Never again, folks. Listen, I went there. I wanted to look cool. Got my shit pierced. Okay? Fuck me right up at the piercing pagoda.
Than what we had here today.
Investigators say the shooter killed 4 people, including 2 students, 14-year-old Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn, and 2 teachers, 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall and 53-year-old Christina Ermey. 8 other students and 1 teacher were taken to hospitals with gunshot wounds and other injuries and are expected to survive.
What was going through your mind?
I was scared because I didn't know if my mom was informed. I was crying. I was scared I was going to die.
Melanie Alvarez says she hurried from the bathroom to her classroom when a school alarm went off.
You really thought this could be it?
Yeah, because we heard banging the first time, and then we heard somebody yell, get down, to somebody outside of the hall, but we didn't know who it was.
After catching the suspect, police say they went class by class.
We got a whole school to get evacuated.
Evacuating the roughly 1,900 students to the football field to reunite with their parents.
Could have been me.
Freshman Ariana Carter said police escorted her down a hallway where shots had been fired.
We, of course, see like the blood and stuff from them, and they have it like dusted off, so like it's kind of covered, but not really. There's a shoe that was bloody on it.
Love will prevail over what happened today.
Wednesday night, hundreds came together for a vigil.
I just felt like I needed to be here.
Samantha Huff graduated from Appalachia High School 2 years ago, but came home to Winder after hearing about the shooting.
You just have the sense that many people here are just shattered.
It's quite literally shattered. Like, it's just, I don't even think I fully comprehended it. It's just like thinking about it, it's just never going to be the same again. Like, our little small town is always going to have this hurt in our heart because of this.
Suspect Colt Gray is being held at a regional youth detention facility. The sheriff says he is cooperating, but so far the motive remains unclear. Gail, so sad.
It's beyond sad. I can't wait to hear what he says. Nothing he says will make this all right, but I hope we can get some insight into his thinking. A short time ago, we spoke to another student. His name is Isaac Sanguma. He was walking back to his class at the time of the shooting. Isaac, thank you so much for joining us. First, let me say I'm so sorry that this has happened yet again in this country. I'm so sorry that we have to talk to you under these circumstances. You know, when
the school received a phone threat earlier that morning, multiple law enforcement officials told CNN. Yeah, that's the other part of the story that I don't understand, where it's like, I feel like these guys in law enforcement, they just, I don't know what it is, but they just get off on it, you know? Like, it does unironically seem like law enforcement loves being like, yeah, dude, we actually do suck. Like, we do. We suck so bad. We are the absolute worst. Like, nobody was pointing the finger of blame at law enforcement until law enforcement comes out and is like, no, dude, the FBI's like, he was on our radar. And then local cops are like, oh, they told us actually. He told us ahead of time how he was going to do the shooting. Obviously, they wanted to keep his record clean so we could apply to the academy. Yeah. It feels like the media really trying to spin like the auto lock and doors, ID card alarms, police response being fast, etc., as though it was a success. And then you remember 4 people got killed, kind of crazy, no? Yeah, no, it is spin. It's the spin factory for sure. Like last year, they would make fun of those protocols. Now those protocols are implemented, so they have to be like, see, those protocols actually work. It could have been much worse. It's like, bro, 4 people died. Like, what do you mean? 8 people were fucking wounded, you know? 9 people were shot, 4 are dead. The fuck do you mean? How is that a double? We're 2 days into the fucking school year, man. We're 2 days into the goddamn semester, man. What the fuck? Year over year, every single day, when conditions worsen, these guys basically match the energy where they're like, well, it could have been even worse. It's just like this incredibly defeatist mentality. We do not dare to dream of a better future any longer. We're done. We're done with that shit. Okay?
The story broke yesterday. It was tough to hear. Once again, here we go. I can't imagine what it was like for you who was there at the time. Describe for us, if you will, where you were, what you heard, and what you saw.
So basically, it was like around 10:20, and
I hate to be a hysterical weirdo on this one, but when I see 14-year-olds with access to AR-15s, I tend to think the parents should be charged as well. No, you're not hysterical for that. What are you talking about? The kid's 14. Of course the parents should be fucking charged. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. What do you mean? It's a minor. That is not a hot take. It is the coldest take.
I asked my teacher to go use the restroom, and as I was going to the restroom, I went to go see AP. So I went to go see an AP, and she said she was dealing with something very important. So as I'm walking around, I go to the atrium, and I see 3 cops. And as I'm walking by, I'm walking back, I go to the restroom, and I don't know, I think I heard like a boom, boom, but at first it wasn't like a gunshot, like it didn't come to my mind as it was a gunshot. My instincts was just to run back to class. Plus I seen like red sirens, red lights in the ceiling and stuff like that. So I just ran back to class, and I seen my teacher and other teachers getting their students that were drinking water and in the bathroom, getting their kids to get in the classroom. And it didn't feel real.
You know, so we have heard that we have lost 2 teachers and 2 students. Did you know any of the people who were no longer with us?
Yes, one of the teachers was my algebra teacher. She was my 4th period teacher. That same morning, she walked up to me, and I had threw up yesterday, so she asked me if I was okay. And she was asking me to come to class on time because, you know, my class is like right across the whole school, so I'd be coming to class late. She was begging me to come to class on time today. And I didn't know that was gonna be my last time seeing her and talking to her.
I know, Isaac. So how are you processing this?
It don't feel real. I just can't believe my teacher, somebody that I see every day. You know, it just don't feel real.
Before you go, Isaac, tell us what she was like. What was her name? What was she like?
Miss Army, okay, Miss Army, when I first came into class, Miss Army, she be telling corny jokes. And at the time, it's just like, you know, when you're a student, you're just like, what is she talking about? But now it's just like, dang, like, you know. And Miss Army, she was real nice. I'm not gonna lie, my freshman year, I didn't pass algebra, so I'm retaking algebra my junior year. And she never made me feel ashamed about it. She never made me feel dumb. You could get a question wrong on the board, and she's not gonna make you feel dumb. She really make you, you know, she'll make you feel welcome. And all she do is just tell random jokes, and, you know, she really make you feel welcome, and she'll help you out. I'm not really good at math, but I just got the understanding of math just this year, being 3 weeks of school.
Some of the most underfunded workers in American society, okay, who straight up do not do this to get a bag or anything like that. Public school teachers, we are gutting their fucking labor protections in the form of teachers' unions. We're consistently underfunding them. Every single teacher in this goddamn country, especially public school teachers, are literally just doing it because they love the next generation. They want to fucking help the next generation. I know that, like, if you're a child, when you're going to school, you're like, well, I got some good teachers, I got some bad teachers. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Every single one of them is not doing this because they want to make the bag. They're doing this because they care. And then they're destined with this fucking fate. Incredible stuff. It's just so, we are such a cruel goddamn country, dude. We are such a cruel society, so fucking violent, so vile, so seeped in ignorance, constantly in a fucking death spiral.
Isaac,
really
I know
nice.
this. I know this. You will never forget Miss Ermey. You will never forget the day yesterday. I'm glad you're okay. I think you still have a lot of processing to do. I'm very sorry this has happened to you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Not only that, but also in the state of Georgia, Apparently, since 2014, they've had like a arming the teachers process, according to libs of TikTok. Here it is. Okay. A Georgia lawmaker proposes paying teachers $10K to carry guns in school. A proposal at the State House would pay teachers to carry guns in school. Supporters say it'll make classrooms safer. However, critics worry it could make tense situations even more dangerous. State Senator Clint Dixon from Beaufort introduced a bill that would offer teachers a stipend of $10,000 a year. How about you give them $10,000 extra a year regardless? Nope. We can only do that if you fucking carry and you train. That's this right here. This title right here is a perfect demonstration of how unimaginably fucked our priorities are. Okay? Like, think about that, dude. Teachers are some of the most underpaid, underserved, especially public school teachers, are some of the most underpaid people, underpaid workers in this goddamn country. Okay? They have to pay out of pocket for school supplies. Okay? They do not even get reimbursements for that shit. And these red states that are some of the worst states for in terms of like removing any kind of labor protections that they might have, that also have a bunch of fucking psychopaths calling them like groomer pedophiles and whatnot on a regular basis. Okay. The only time they got money in the fucking banana stand for the teachers is if they carry, which of course is going to only worsen the problem. Okay. If you have a gun in your house, the likelihood that you will have an accident obviously is infinitely higher. Okay. Versus not having a gun in the house. Whether it be your child shooting you in the fucking leg, shooting you in the head and killing you, whether it be you actually accidentally firing the gun and killing your child or yourself, assuming that a home invasion is happening and then shooting your fucking neighbor knocking on your door, assuming that a home invasion is happening and shooting a random black teenager that is knocking on your door seeking out help. This has happened as well. Incredibly high suicide rates in this country, specifically for men, who have a higher likelihood of using a gun when they are committing suicide. It's in every aspect of American culture, and it reflects itself in every bad fucking stat point. More guns equals more gun violence. It is the most basic fucking fact, okay? Other countries have comparable rates of mental illness, you know, mental health complications, and yet they don't have mass shootings. They don't have school shootings. They don't have gun violence to that same degree. Why? Because they don't have guns. That's it. So when people say it's a mental health problem, it's like, yeah, you're not wrong. We're not doing anything to solve that either, by the way. We're just using another problem in an effort to win the argument in that moment. But other countries have that issue too. People say knife crime. America has an issue with knife crime as well. Remember the story of, I forget if it were a teacher or a guard leaving the gun on the toilet and another one who left his gun in class? The way kids get treated by cops and security guards, especially black kids, tells you everything you need to know about how dangerous this will turn out if you give guns to teachers. Yes. USA has 40% more knife deaths than the UK and 30x times more gun deaths than the UK. If knives were as deadly as guns are, why the fuck is the American military not using knives? Okay? Are these guys stupid? Oh my God. I don't understand. Why the fuck aren't we invading Iraq with knives? Why are we invading it with weapons? It doesn't make sense. Everybody should be using fucking katanas instead. Wow, how stupid. Someone should alert the Department of Defense. Oh. America has a higher per capita knife death rate than the UK, 4 million compared to 3 million per. I don't know if America has a higher per capita knife death rate as well, but it wouldn't be shocking because we are just like an insane country. We still use knives and melee weapons law. Please, dude, you know what I'm saying. Okay? Please. You know exactly what I'm fucking saying. Okay? Yeah, dude, we're using knives when we that's the primary gear that people have. Knives? Is that what's going on? I love being intentionally obtuse. I'm very smart, by the way. Yeah, that's the situation.
I know. I think we're all still processing. You know, the crawl came on the screen. I just keep thinking, we all think this. How many more stories do we have to report like this? I don't want us ever to become desensitized to it.
Right.
But
it happens so often here.
I thought Vice President Harris said it right. It doesn't have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be this way. And hearing that young man talk about his teacher really brings it home for me. That's a real human being there.
Yeah.
And what, we got 5
Kids are
minutes?
going back to school.
We got 5 minutes into the school year before
Yes.
summer's over, and this is a reality in American life. And does it have to be? Well, we're going to talk about that on the presidential campaign stage as well. Gun violence back in this presidential race. Both candidates were supposed to talk about the economy yesterday. Instead, they were talking about the attack in Georgia. And Robert Costa is here with the latest on what was said and what might happen now. Bob, good morning.
Good morning. Yesterday was supposed to be about kitchen table issues and courting voters in battleground states. But as you noted, outrage and revived debates over gun violence have also now been thrust into this campaign.
It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
Just hours after the school shooting in Georgia, Vice President Kamala Harris, while campaigning in New Hampshire, briefly scrapped her economic speech to address the tragedy and gun violence that she called an epidemic.
And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive.
Former President Donald Trump weighed in too, writing on Truth Social, "Our hearts are with the victims and loved ones of those affected by the tragic event in Winder, Georgia," calling the suspect a deranged monster. Hours later, he sat down with...
I hate this because it's so cynical and gross when people will be like, oh, the 14-year-old's a deranged monster. Oh, okay, you solved the problem now. You know what I mean? And it's like, and if you go, hey, man, that's a 14-year-old, like, I feel like there's a lot more societal problems at play here. They go, oh, so you don't think he's a monster? Oh, so you don't think he's a monster then? Oh, you love the 14-year-old who killed people. You want him to kill more people. It's like, dude, of course I'm not saying that, you fucking animal. I hate this shit so much. It is literally like such a cynical way. Like, yeah, oh yeah, it's the individual's fault. It's like, bro, he's fucking 14. It doesn't get more like not a person than that, okay? God damn, American brains are so broken, dude. Do you not have 14-year-old relatives? Like, imagine them, okay? They're barely fucking sentient. What are you talking about? Lacey has Obama on a stream? No, he doesn't. There's no way. Yeah, okay, good one, chat. Yeah, there you go, okay.
With the dream of becoming a famous influencer, he lost 80 pounds and moved to LA just 2 months ago. But he didn't lose the weight on Ozempic like Kelly Clarkson and Elon Musk and Teddy Swims. Teddy Swims. My boy Lacey lost the weight the old-fashioned way. Through hard work, determination.
Very true.
Driven by the heartbreak of getting cheated on by a girl named Darla. Lacey is well on the path to getting that revenge body that everybody who's ever been cheated on dreams of. It doesn't matter if he's out of his mind feeling that wah, wah. You know that feeling you get when you're on that galaxy gas?
Okay, oh.
I know what you do.
Okay.
Or if you're tweaking on Ozempic. Yeah, I know. Well, we're going to run a test on that.
Okay.
Lacey is here for you, folks, to entertain you, doing his lifestyle streams and all that other dumb stuff. Now, folks, let's talk about America. As we speak, the state of our union is strong. The real estate market's recovering. Foreclosures are down, and today it's easier than ever for Gen Zers to move back in with their folks. Now, people still talk badly about Obamacare, but, you know, the program's doing really well. We've insured millions of Americans. Folks, Obamacare is doing so well, we've expanded it to cover uninsured cats.
Okay, come on. Wait, what?
It's all spay and neutering costs for cats, dogs, and...
Okay, dude. This is literally like the extent of people's interest in the age group that is the like under 20-year-old age group. Okay? Under 20-year-old age group's interest in politics is basically that. All right, let's get back to the actual news in my old ass community, okay?
With Sean Hannity for a town hall in the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
I don't have an issue with that, by the way. I think it's funny.
It's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons, and we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world.
A recent CBS News poll shows 58% of likely voters consider gun policy a major factor. The economy, 83%. And that is why candidates quickly pivoted back to the issue again on Wednesday.
I believe America's small businesses are an essential foundation to our entire economy.
Harris and Trump are trying hard to convince voters that they'll do more for them and for businesses in America.
So I gave you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country.
During the town hall, Trump leaned in on the economy and attacked Harris on her economic policies.
This country will end up in a depression if she becomes president, like 1929.
While in New Hampshire on Wednesday, Harris rolled out proposed incentives for small businesses, including tax relief for startups.
Part of my plan is we will expand the tax deduction for startups to $50,000.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I love that. That seems like a great policy. This is dumb as fuck. Every single thing that they've done since the Walz announcement has been literally the exact opposite of the early 2 key moments that they had. Every single thing. Okay? It is a race to the goddamn bottom. It is a race to the goddamn bottom. And I told y'all that this was going to cut away at the momentum and make this a close fucking race. I went to the DNC. I told you these guys are doing victory laps like they fucking got 10 points on Trump in Pennsylvania or some shit. They do not. The reality is dire. Okay? The reality is fucking dire. And for some weird, I guess, expected reason, the Democrats went back to their old ways, dude. They love trying to lose. Okay? Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Oh my Lord, dude. What a fucking stupid ass way to campaign. I'm losing my fucking mind. Oh, we're going to give $50,000 in tax credits to fucking underserved communities that start a startup. Sick. I've met so many Americans that are like, hell yeah, that's my shit, dude. No, I haven't. Okay? I have not. And I live in the fucking startup capital. Okay? This is such a stupid fucking way to campaign. Hammer universal programs. She is supposed to have a care economy focused policy measure. Barely talks about it. Doesn't talk about it at all. We still don't know. She's supposed to talk about paid family leave. Doesn't talk about that at all. That is actually shit that Americans would care about. Okay? That is actually stuff that would help every American. What the fuck are you doing? Oh my God. Who's advising her? The exact same people that were advising Biden. Okay? That's the problem. Except even worse, because the Biden campaign was at least a little bit more progressive and outwardly progressive in the way that they were communicating a lot of the fucking policies that Biden wanted to implement. The problem is it was Biden doing it. It was good message, bad messenger. Now, this is a worse message with supposedly a better messenger. Am I delusional, or does your take seem like common sense? I don't get why they don't do that. Oh my God. What is this? I agree she should talk about the policies people care about, but this isn't a bad policy. A bunch of people here really love this, and 50K is a huge deal for several new owners here. No. No, the fuck it's not. Okay? We're going to give $50,000 in tax credits to like new founded startups is such a hyper-focused, focus-tested, idiotic way to fucking campaign. Okay? I'm sorry. I love your feedback on this, iDishDirt, because, you know, I don't really get to see a lot of libbed up people over the age of 40. I don't get to directly tap into this community of voters. But I'm telling you right now, this is the classic lasering in on a small fucking percentage of people because you don't want to make bold, large, radical, like broad sweeping legislative changes because you're terrified that they're going to pick it apart. Oh, I hate this fucking cancer ass startup culture. Oh, dude, we're going to be a startup nation. We're going to have a startup in every fucking corner. It just sucks. Half of this stuff never gets implemented anyway, and it doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't even matter. Overall, when you're running a campaign, you should not be running away from more progressive policies. Her domestic policy is identical to 2004 George Bush's. She has not offered anything to differentiate herself. You know what actually helps small businesses in this fucking country? Healthcare, okay? Paid family leave. You know who actually did that and sold it as that after the fact? Tim Walz. He literally said, hey, guess what? Big corporations sometimes have a lot more revenue so they can offer more amenities to their fucking workers. This kind of measure in Minnesota, paid family leave, will allow small businesses that don't have those same profit margins to be able to be competitive. Childcare, things like that. That actually helps small businesses. And you know what else it helps? Every fucking other person that doesn't have a small business. She just might be someone who isn't a bold policymaker. Why are you expecting her to be progressive? What do you want me to do? Fucking sit here and act like this is a good idea? Sit here and act like this is good policy and good politics when it's both shitty policy in general and really terrible politics in general? My point is, she's not even trying to fucking lie, okay? She's not even trying to lie. She's not even trying to lie to win. That's what's crazy about it. Oh. What the fuck was the point of bringing on Tim Walz if you're just not even going to do any of that shit? They should have at least run with fucking Josh Shapiro so they could have had Pennsylvania in the bag, dude. So dumb. Like, actually, they should have just straight up had Josh Shapiro. If they're going to run this fucking campaign, at least Pennsylvania will be locked down. Honestly, it makes no damn sense.
Second, my plan will help existing small businesses grow.
I think the main reason they didn't pick Shapiro were controversies, not because of Tim Walz per se. I mean, for sure, you're not wrong about that. I'm sure there was to trick progressives. Bro, progressives, especially in our community, like people like ourselves, people who consider themselves to be progressive, are fucking dialed in. That means that they're not like just simply Democratic Party dick riders. They want policies. We are the worst type of voter, chatter. The best type of voter is the person that doesn't even think about this shit at all. And then maybe accidentally they happen to hear something that's like somewhat positive and they're lifelong Democrats anyway. The best type of voter is Austin Schill. Okay. He's a vote blue no matter who kind of guy. He literally would have voted for Joe Biden. He would have voted for Joe Biden even if he was dead. Okay. Like he'll chirp and he'll have opinions and whatever. But he's going to fucking go out and vote for the Democrats no matter what. The worst type of voter is you. You're the worst type of voter because you're like, what the fuck? This is a democracy. I have expectations. Like, if I'm going to vote for you, you have to give me something. Okay? You have to give me something. Like basic amenities, you know? What the fuck? You are the absolute worst type of fucking voter. The Democratic Party despises you. They would rather have Trump Republicans who have voted MAGA every fucking election cycle, okay, including in the goddamn midterms, to like, they would rather have 3 of those guys come and vote for the Democratic Party than 10,000 of you vote for the Democratic Party because you have expectations with your vote. Okay, they want fucking zombies. Okay, they want zombies. That's what they want. They want NPCs.
Oh, we will provide low.
She's catering the conservatives and it might work. My family's conservative and they actually might work for Kamala on issues like this. They're small business owners who of course benefited from having their PPP loans forgiven and just want more money for a subscription. Fuck! To pay for a subscription to avoid the top of the hour, going to their local park with unsalted peanuts and hard-boiled eggs to feed the crows. I think this is a point you're missing. This guy double debated me. He's both the fucking feed the crows guy and also, dude, I am literally giving them salted peanuts. If I see a fucking crow, I am giving that crow the saltiest peanut, okay? You fucked up, El Hombre Cuervo, okay? I am feeding the crows the saltiest of peanuts you've ever done seen, okay? Straight up. You son of a bitch. Comrade Hoppa, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. It's coming for you right now. For the Hasanabi chatter at the top of the hour who was unsubscribed, a gifted sub is kind of like giving crows at your local park unsalted peanuts, not salted ones, unsalted peanuts. That's the crow chatter. He changed this fucking name. He's Spanish now. He's the crow guy in Spanish, and he cooked me. Isn't it also because those people vote and young progressives don't come out and vote? We're not a reliable voting bloc. Bernie couldn't get us out, so why Kamala? Okay, Bernie obviously failed because he never made it out of the goddamn primary. Young people do end up voting, okay? Young people do end up voting. They vote. Just not by super high margins. Unless we're talking about like 2008 Barack Obama. Let's see what the under 35 age voting block looked like under Obama. Okay? Because even then it's probably not great. 2008, Democratic share of the presidential vote. 18 to 29, 66% voted for Barack Obama in the 18 to 39 demographic. Okay? 18 to 29, not 39, sorry. 18 to 29 demographic. Obama would have lost Indiana and North Carolina, but carried other key states such as Ohio and Florida, as well as the national vote. But young people provided not only their votes, but many enthusiastic campaign volunteers. While Obama captured 66% of the youth vote, voters age 30 and older divided roughly between the two candidates. But overall, what is the voter participation rate? Let me see if they have that. All voters, 53% went to no. What percentage of the 18 to 29 voters actually participated? Let's see. Where is it? Okay. Voter turnout rates among 18 to 24-year-olds. Okay, bro, these numbers keep changing. Jesus Christ, this is fucking annoying. Okay, total is blue here. 33 total. Okay, 2008 is, I believe, the highest until 2020. Okay, 2008 and 2020 is obviously a incorrect statistic to apply because of universal ballot, because of COVID, universal ballots and mail-in ballots and universal registration. Having said that, however, outside of 2020, the highest total voter participation rate for 18 to 24-year-olds was in 2008 at 44.3%. Okay? Beyond that, the last time it reached anywhere near 42 was 1992. 1968, voter participation rate was like 50% and shit, but like that's way too far back throughout history. But in the last 3 decades, the highest voter participation rate for the 18 to 24-year-old demographic from like 2000 onward is 2008. From the 90s onward is still 2008. The only exception being 2020. Okay? The voter participation rate for younger voters went from 41.9% to 44.3% between 2004 and 2008. Before that, in the 2000 election, it was 32%. Okay? Here, I'll show you these numbers now. In 2008, it reached its peak at 44.3%. In 2012, it went down because Obama in 2012 obviously was running a way different campaign. In 2016, it went up by a little bit, 39.4%, and in 2020, it skyrocketed to 48%, reaching its peak once again. Having said that, however, 2020 obviously was the COVID year. And also voting was made less difficult for obvious reasons due to COVID. So 2020 is not an actual, unless you are talking about like voter participation increasing when you make voting easier, 2020 is not exactly representative of anything else. Old people vote so they get treats. We don't vote as much, so no politician is bidding for our votes. You're wrong. The reason why I'm talking about this is because Barack Obama did appeal to younger voters. Okay? And when you do actually have a more progressive campaign, you do actually turn out younger voters. That's my point. And if Kamala Harris needs to, if COVID is still here, okay, I know COVID is still here. I'm not saying COVID is gone, but lockdowns are no longer here, and there are no additional, like all of the like universal mail-in ballot and registration amenities went away. Okay. That's kind of funny because I know a ton of young people who quite literally vote just so they can post a pic of the little sticker you can get. My point is, we have never really had, with the exception of 2020, we've never really had like an actual overtly progressive campaign that singles out younger voters. But when you do that, you clearly, demonstrably end up turning them out at higher percentages. When you actually end up turning them out in higher percentages, you fucking win. You also, in 2008 in Barack Obama, the 2008 Barack Obama Hope and Change campaign is a pretty solid example that you don't actually lose on other demographics when you actually have a bold progressive agenda. Okay? Do you get it? Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is currently relying on Brad Summer to carry her across the fucking finish line. It's not going to work. Look at how your chat reacts to COVID being brought up like COVID still existing is lib shit, for fuck's sake. Oh my God, dude. Please stop. Please. I beg you, okay? Please stop. I'm not saying COVID doesn't exist. It very much still exists. Please. You're looking at one of the only communities remaining on the fucking planet that isn't directly just about COVID still existing and talking just about COVID, that recognizes that COVID is still very much at play. I am not going to have a fucking COVID discourse right now in the midst of this, okay? Literally changing the topic because he can't defend himself? Who? Oh, the chatter? Because I'm not. I'm trying to... You've signaled the wolves, be careful. I know. It's hyperfixation. That's what it is for the most part. It's a hyperfixation, and it's no different than people being like, well, you're not talking about my issue right now, so you must deny that it exists at all. Okay? You're not sufficiently covering my personal thing that I want you to talk about when you're in the midst of making an argument about something entirely different. And now I'm going to make inferences about that and assume that you're, not with it. Okay. You underestimate how cynical Obama made the younger generations, though? Okay, we're not, first of all, cynical Obama made the younger generations. Brother, I hate to do this, but we ain't the younger generation no more, okay? People who were alive and coherent during the Obama admin, both before and after, people who were cognizant of the Obama administration and like had enough sentience to develop attitudes, we're not necessarily young any longer. We're not in the all voters 18 to 29 demographic at this point. Now, I mean, I totally understand being upset with Dems over Palestine, but don't act like all these things are a detriment to her. She's running a pretty normal campaign. Dude, what are you talking about? Chatter, please listen to my words when I say this to you, okay? This is the exact same style of campaign that Democrats have run every single election cycle. Some, depending on how bad the Republican Party is perceived, has delivered victories. Depending on how normal or outside of the box the Republican Party has perceived them or presented themselves as, like in 2016, they have lost. Okay? That is what's going on here as well. This is not a normal, it's normal for the Democrats. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a good way to campaign, okay? It's actually the abnormal shit that the Democratic Party did that actually created a lot of enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket out of nowhere. And instead of leaning into that momentum and the enthusiasm, Kamala Harris turned around and did the exact same old strategy. That's the problem. I think you're nitpicking, man. Totally understand not wanting to vote Dems over Palestine, just be 10 toes down about it. I think you and others who have this kind of attitude that you have in a fucking Twitch streamers chat where I very openly tell you exactly what I think are looking for a cynical reason. You think I'm sheltering my secret perspective here when I am so honest, so brutally honest usually, that I say shit that pisses people off all the fucking time. Okay? It is so fucking stupid that you think that I have some cynical purpose where I'm actually couching my criticism of the Kamala Harris campaign, even though my actual criticisms simply are on Palestine. Okay? No, that is something that I have a moral issue with. And it's also something that I have an issue with in terms of the electoral calculus here as well. But beyond the issue of Gaza and the ongoing facilitation of genocide, I'm talking about domestic policies, okay? If you personally think if you personally legitimately think that presenting a campaign, presenting economic policies in your campaign that is like, oh, we're going to give tax credits, like tax cuts to small businesses in key sectors, and that's really going to fucking move the needle for a lot of people, you are just as delusional as every other Democrat. The issue here, however, is that you're not being paid by the Democratic Party. I agree with you, says Colonel Disappoint Man. Yeah. Hassan, who has said America deserved 9/11, is actually not being honest here. He just has like a secret purpose to hide his opinion, even though he talks about Palestine pretty much every fucking day and how upset he is on that front as well. I must be cynically hiding my actual opinions. Why would I do that? Search within your own mind. Try to think like, what are the reasons why I would do that? Okay? What is it? What could be the reasons? Am I being honest with you? Or am I secretly sheltering the truth, even though I do talk about all the other stuff that you think I'm not talking about somehow? The worst part is you've been positive to the Kamala campaign when they deserve it, like the labor speech is an example. Yeah. He answered, by the way. No, it's not showing up. I don't know why. It's funny how you were riding for Biden during the pandemic because it actually affected you. Now that you're not actually affected by a second Trump term, you're bailing. He appealed to everyone. My state went blue. The last time this happened was FDR. I was riding for Biden during the pandemic because it actually affected me. A second Trump term doesn't affect me, so I'm bailing. If liberalism sucks, why do you live where it has the most impact on any state? Bro called Schumer a Palestinian man. What's up with these Asmongold ass takes? This is just a liberal chatter who thinks I'm cynically and secretly actually criticizing the Kamala Harris campaign, not because I think that making bold policy declarations would be genuinely positive for her in terms of her electoral calculus, but I'm actually personally a secret operative who was in the tank for Donald Trump. Liberals have one fucking speed, dude. They cannot imagine a world where like I could personally demand more from the Democratic Party, which is the only other option out there in our duopoly. Okay? Why is it that you always ascribe bad faith to others? Perhaps it's because you're in here with bad faith in mind. This is the type of shit that makes the alt-right pipeline very comfy to people that literally don't want to hear this shit. So you're admitting you're a fucking liberal labor arista KKK rat who 24/7 discusses the potential domestic policies of the evil bitch who's literally doing a Holocaust right now and promises Holocaust will continue no matter what. Yes, that's what I am. I'm riding with Kamala Harris. How do you develop this kind of attitude and this kind of loyalty for the Democratic Party when they don't fucking give you anything? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. Like, I don't, like, are you just like mainlining fucking MSNBC? Is that what it is? He's not responding, moving on. I know. He got called out. So now he's just like, yeah. Edinger Mentum also said this. I feel criticizing nearly every decision made by the Kamala campaign is the Walls pick and carrying the entire team of morons. Calling her entire team of team morons while also thinking that she's basically fine.
I had to go to get rich. Mama was struggling paying the rent. I couldn't help her with shit. Hey, then I'm feeling so stuck in this bitch.
This is my analysis as well, by the way. Like, straight up. Like, fear not, liberals. Fear not, libtards. You know, Kamala Harris is still likely going to win. No, she is fine. I think she is. They're doing a millionaire socialist thing from the left, probably a hardcore PSL voter or something. No, the first chatter that I called out was a hardcore libtard. The second chatter came in and was like, you're a labor aristocrat, but they were memeing most likely. Nobody fucking unironically says labor aristocrat KKK rat. Is she likely going to win? It seems 50-50 still. I think Kamala Harris is, all things considered, they weren't memeing. Wait, they were being for real? Oh, that's awesome. Wait, I hope you didn't ban that guy. The one that used Maoist standard English in the chat, unironically. Wait, what the fuck? Why did he get suspended? No, it wasn't Schmo. You might think that you're not, but that's what you are. Oh, dude, he is actually like this. For chatters who also say, Hassan, why don't you fucking deal with guys like this and talk about liberals? There are millions of people who have the attitude that that one liberal had that I'm addressing. And there's like some collective total of like 13 people who have this attitude. So it's not necessarily worthwhile to discuss or talk about. Their heart's in the right place, ultimately. Okay? That's the other reason. Like, they're both idiots. One means well. The other one is actually... Wait, what the fuck? He did get clapped. No. You guys are writing the wrong username. I don't think it's him. Yeah, no, this is the right username, and he's not clapped from Twitter. Why would he get banned from Twitch? He didn't say anything crazy. Anyway, as long as she's regularly finding leads in Georgia, a state with reliable polls that she doesn't even need to win, I'm not going to be losing sleep over her odds anytime soon. I appreciate the discourse, though, because I get to take shots at popularists. Anyways, people learn, then they hate you for not being left enough, then they understand your position. It takes like 3-ish years. Yeah. If I were a rich Democratic donor and wanted to maximize Kamala's chance of winning, I'd pay $10 million of bounty to lure ex-Biden staffers away from the campaign and replace them with fresher, better people. Give them a nice job consulting on the Luxembourg parliamentary election, etc. Yeah, this is one of the very few instances where like me and Nate Silver actually align on that. Like Kamala Harris's Joe Biden dead ender staffers are fucking leading her, are leading her astray. They're leading her down a unnecessarily close election. There's no fucking reason for it. It's just so stupid. Nate also personally thinks Trump is going to win because Kamala seemingly has no strategy for Pennsylvania. The only like in terms of liberals' chances, in terms of the Democratic Party's chances, the only thing I can foresee that would be a massive fucking upset, the only thing I can foresee that could potentially lead to a massive upset, okay, would be if one, the October surprise of like Benjamin Netanyahu invading Lebanon, and then drawing America into direct battle, and B, Donald Trump personally being able to activate a lot of these like non-voters in key states that are not getting polled right now, okay? Because why the fuck should they ever get polled? There's no way to reach them. And he did do this in 2016. That's why he caused the upset. So that's something to also consider. That's not happening. There's no way Trump wins again. We'll see. I don't think so, which is precisely the reason why I'm saying personally that when the race is so goddamn close right now, and Donald Trump does have a tendency to outperform the polls, when Joe Biden's lead was great in 2020, turns out that lead was not so great at the end result of the election. And 2016, Donald Trump won. Obviously, Hillary Clinton had a much larger lead. 2020 polls were obviously not as bad as the 2016 polls. However, Donald Trump did actually outperform the polls in 2020 in key states as well. So that's something to that's certainly something to consider in this situation as well. It's a massive problem, especially when you are considering an election that is currently super fucking tight. My point is, it shouldn't have to be super tight. There's no reason for the polls to be tight. On the other hand, here's something very funny. One of the only things that Kamala Harris has come out with that has been broadly perceived as very popular policy. Are you ready? One of the only things that Kamala Harris has come out with that I personally liked and even hyped up was her declaration that she will go after price gougers in terms of in the grocery stores. Okay, let's take a fucking look, dude. Oh, that's right. Support for cracking down on price gouging. Support 82%, oppose 13%. The number keeps going higher. The support number keeps going higher. Maybe if Republicans scream communism 7 more times and call Tim Walz a mouse again, they can drive this number down to 79%. Except the number used to be 79%, and that's precisely what the Republicans have been doing, and it only went up. That's crazy, man. It seems so strange to me that we have deluded ourselves, and Republicans do legitimately believe this, by the way. This is not a joke. Republicans and liberals both absolutely believe in their fucking hearts, that progressive policies are scary, okay? They do. They literally believe it. It's wrong. It is objectively incorrect, but they actually believe it. That's why so many Republicans were like, oh, Tim Walz seems like a massive L. Remember, they kept saying that over and over again. Once Tim Walz was announced as the VP candidate, Donald Trump and so many other Republicans, Fox News, across the board were like, Tim Walz, oh, you just lost the race. You just done lost the race, dumbass. Hold this fucking L. And I told you at the time, they're coping. Okay? They're wrong. They're both wrong, and they're fucking coping. Turns out, I was right and they were wrong. On messaging, I asked a local guy why they're not running on policy and what we can do to help people. He said because it's Labor Day and NFL just started, normal people don't care yet. That's fucking bullshit. They will care in the few weeks once sports and schools settle down. Right now, it's sign up to help and register voters time. Later is why you should help why you should vote time. Then he made fun of me for being terminally online. Yeah, that person is wrong and a fucking idiot and will be responsible for why the Democratic Party loses your state. Okay? If they don't switch up. There are 60 fucking days remaining on this election. The fact that you don't have actual policies as to why you should go out and even register to fucking vote, it's so unimaginably dumb. Oh my fucking God. It is so dumb. Okay? They believe the label of progressive is scary. If you stick these morons in a room and sell them on the policy without some Fox News anchor telling them that cheap food is woke and gay, they'll probably support it. Dude, this demonstrates that even when you call it progressive and communist and Maoist and vuvuzela, people still support it. Okay? Talking about price gouging, like angling it as though you are going to tackle price gouging is the perfect way to message it to the American population too. Brett Stevens is a good barometer on lib economics. Kamala Harris takes her first big risk. I don't want to read fucking Brett Stevens. Brett, we've spent a long time agreeing about stuff thanks to our shared loathing of Donald Trump, but now we're back to our great divide, economics. No better way to end living an August afternoon than to summon the ghost of Richard Milhouse Nixon, probably not your favorite president. You're talking about a piece of Kamala Harris's big economic speech on Friday. Well, I admit price controls would be a tough plan to get through, politically speaking, but Harris is still trying to lay some of the groundwork for her overall agenda, which on the fiscal side includes redistributing some of the mega wealth to the upper class, of folks who are struggling to reach the middle. I do like that scenario. Okay, I can't read this. I don't want to read this. This is going to piss me off for no reason. My Liber's dad says this anti-progressive shit about the new immigration right to push from the Dems, like we need to appease first to have an honest discussion. Yeah, it's liberals are the ones who actually end up fucking falling in line. They say Republicans fall in line, liberals fall in love. But it's actually the opposite. I have never fucking heard a Republican unironically talk as though they are a goddamn RNC wonk or paid by the fucking Republican Party in the same way that like active liberals who are politically active and very online, the way that those liberals talk about politics is like, bro, you act like you are working for the campaign. You act like you're defending the bad decisions that you made. You don't even have a paycheck from the Democratic Party. No amount of evidence that proves I'm right will ever be enough for these people, by the way. I'm just letting you know. They are just blue. They're blue and on through and through. Okay? And that's precisely why you see so many of the people that are critical of me on Twitter. If you key search Joe Biden, they were Biden dead enders. Okay? It's the same fucking cultist attitude, bro. That's it. So many of these fucking dumbasses were also chirping about riding with Biden till the very end.
And no interest loans to small businesses that want to expand.
Here in New York today, Trump will address the city's economic club as he looks to bolster his standing among business leaders. As for that debate next week, last night, the Harris campaign agreed that mics will remain muted when a candidate isn't speaking.
Okay, Bob, other news yesterday, Harris picked up an endorsement from a former Congresswoman, Liz Cheney, a vocal Republican critic of Donald Trump. Here's what Liz Cheney...
Like, this is so perfect, dude. This is so fucking perfect. Like, oh, man, Liz Cheney. Wow, we got John McCain's son and Liz Cheney endorse Kamala Harris. Oh, wow. That's really going to change the outcome of this election. Oh, hell yeah. Wow. Goated. That's sick. Who the fuck does Liz Cheney represent, dude? Who? Are you fucking stupid?
Cheney had to say at Duke University.
Because of the danger that Donald Trump poses, not only am I not voting for Donald Trump, but I will be voting for Kamala Harris in this election.
All right, she got some applause there. Does it mean anything as an endorsement?
It's pretty significant. This election, of course, is about the economy, maybe now about gun violence as well, but it is about character for many traditional Republicans out there in the suburbs of Atlanta, in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and elsewhere. And the Harris campaign believes they can make some inroads with that constituency.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to focus on anything other than this shooting.
Me too.
I have to
My
say,
head
guys,
is
it's
my
just very
stop.
difficult for me right now. It's hard for me to accept the fact that we live in a country where I guess we think it's okay to kill children. Because if we didn't think it was okay, something would be done to stop it. It doesn't seem to matter who's in office, how it works.
A long time ago. We would find a compromise that enshrines the Second Amendment but keeps our children safe. We shouldn't be sending them to school only for them to go home to God during the school day. Teddy goes to school today. It's the only thing on my mind.
I know.
We got 5 minutes into the school year.
Yes.
And this is what happens.
And I don't want to take guns from responsible gun owners.
If Harris loses, get ready for members of the media to suddenly insist she lost because Biden wasn't on the ticket. No, they're not going to say that. Everybody loves riding with Harris now. They're going to say it was the uncommitted campaign. They are going to say some of the most Islamophobic things you've ever heard in your entire damn life. They are probably going to be begging for Donald Trump to do mass Muslim deportations. No. They already are saying it. They literally keep saying, have fun when Trump deports your bitch ass. That's what they're going to say.
It's not about that. But what we're doing now ain't working.
Congress is just so divided, Gail.
Yes, I know, Bob. I know. It's hard.
Bob, thank you very much.
Lovely experience. It was years ago that I was here. We talked about what we were going to do, and we did just about everything we said. And if you'd like, we'll take a few questions, Bob.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Trump. Thank you very much. And we're now moving, as promised, to the question and answer portion of the program. Our four very able questioners today are H. Rajan Cohen, the Senior Chair of Sullivan and Cromwell, Sandra Gerber, Founding and Managing Partner, CEO and CIO of Hudson.
These are the real voters, you know what I'm saying? These are the most important constituencies right here, baby. The Economic Club of New York. Fuck me.
Bay Capital.
I gotta pee.
Mr. John Paulson, founder of Paulson and Company, and Rashma Sanjani, founder and CEO of Girls Who Code. And
Real America, you know? Real America. Love that populist sentiment coming out of the real Americans that we need to hear from.
Moms First. We're going to go in alphabetical order, and therefore, Raj, you have the first question.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I would like to ask about the United States economic sanctions programs. These programs have been used, as you well know, to advance our national security interests, our foreign policy objectives, but they also have economic implications. And the most recent was the program against Russia in response to their invasion of Ukraine, where for once we got the support of all our allies. So my specific question is, would you strengthen or modify any of these economic sanctions programs, particularly Russia, including the pipeline you mentioned?
Well, it's a great question. The problem with what we have with sanctions, and I was a user of sanctions, but I'd put them on and take them off as quickly as possible because ultimately it kills your dollar and it kills everything the dollar represents, and we have to continue to have that be the world currency. I think it's important. I think it would be losing a war. If we lost the dollar as the world currency, I think that would be the equivalent of losing a war. That would make us a third world country, and we can't let it happen. So I use sanctions very powerfully against countries that deserve it, and then I take them off. Because look, you're losing Iran, you're losing Russia. China is out there trying to get their currency to be the dominant currency, as you know better than anybody. All of these things are happening. You're losing so many countries because there's so much conflict with all of these countries that you're going to lose that, and we can't lose that. So I want to use sanctions as little as possible. One of the things that we have with tariffs is that I'll say to them, you don't honor the dollar as your world currency. Is that right? You're not going to do it? No, we're not. I said, that's okay. I'm going to put tariffs all over your product. And they're going to say, sir, we'd love to honor the dollar as the world currency. You know, tariffs, in addition to monetary and the money that we'll take in, which will be bigger than you've ever seen in this country before, gives you tremendous political power. for something like that, as an example. I stopped wars with the threat of tariffs. I stopped wars with two countries that mattered a lot. A lot of people would have been killed. And I threatened tariffs coming into the United States if they don't make peace. And we made a lot of, we didn't have conflicts like you have right now. We had very intelligent people. But the biggest threat you have.
If he's talking about Russia and China, then you know what's even crazier than tariffs? Sanctions, which he used quite a bit. And the irony, of course, is that the sanctions regime that Joe Biden has continued from the Trump administration, which greatly increased sanctions, has not stopped Russia from pummeling motherfucking Ukraine. So, nah, sanctions are even fucking crazier than tariffs overall. He said he hates sanctions. Yeah, that's bullshit, by the way. He loves sanctions. What do you mean? He fucking cooked Venezuela with the sanctions. He was the sanctions chief, dude. Look at Venezuela. Why do you think there's so many Venezuelans coming into the United States of America? Where'd they come from? Why are they escaping Venezuela? He absolutely loves sanctions and used the fuck out of them. You missed the question. The guy's mad about sanctions hurting his dollar. I mean, I get why some people at the Economic Club of New York might be upset about it.
You lose that currency, and we have lost something that you'll never get back. And we can keep it if we're smart, but they use it too much, and then they just forget about it. And these countries like Russia, it's going out now and doing its own thing, and you know, they're going out bragging about how they don't need us anymore, et cetera, et cetera. The sad part about Russia is that Ukraine would have never happened if I was president, so we wouldn't really have to be talking about sanctions. But it did happen. And one of the things I'm going to do, a little bit relevant to your question, is if we win, I believe I can settle that war while I'm president-elect. Before I ever get into office, I can get that war settled and get that war stopped, because it's a horrible, horrible war. And far more people are killed in Ukraine, far more people than you're realizing. They'll knock down this massive building, amazing, the size of these buildings, they'll knock it down. They'll say nobody was injured. No, a lot of people were killed. The real numbers are far greater than what people are looking at. So I think it's a very important thing. Sanctions have to be used very judiciously, and you can win. We have things much more powerful, actually, than sanctions. We have trade, but we cannot lose our dollar standard. Very important. Thank you very much.
Great. Sander?
Thank you, Mr. President, for all the details on your economic policy. As you alluded to, tariffs are the other side of sanctions. And given that China is our major trading partner with our largest imbalance and possibly our chief national security threat to the United States, how can we better institutionalize trade policy and national security policy to be coordinated?
So I had a great relationship with President Xi of China, really very close relationship. Now, look, he likes China, I like us, so, but I don't want to sound foolish. He was my dear, dear friend. He's a tough guy. He's a fierce person. I say very smart. You know, when you say he's smart, the fake news goes crazy. He said President Xi is smart. And I say, yeah, well, he controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. He's smart. But we had a very good relationship with China until COVID. And when that came in, it was...
The assessment that you sent me literally fucking ends in 2016, chatter. The graph of sanctions usage, look, the chart that you sent me, the global sanctions database, straight up ends in 2016, which is funny because it's like, that's kind of the whole, like I was trying to make a point about how much more Donald Trump accelerated sanctions. The Washington Post one covers it quite extensively. Jeff Stein piece on sanctions is pretty good. Trump loves Xi, unlike you. Isn't it better for America to compete more directly with its larger rivals? Competition makes everyone better. Wait, what? I mean, sanctions are not that. I don't know why you're bringing that up now. Let's see. Of course, then you got Biden, but, you know, you got Trump going crazy and then Biden going holy moly. But that number is a little juiced and boosted because of Russia, obviously. That's why it explodes. But the jump off overall from Obama to Trump is pretty fucking significant, because he didn't do this in the midst of like, you know, active conflict occurring between two separate foreign entities. Biden has also been fucking god-awful on sanctions, though. Make no mistake, I'm not defending Biden's record on this at all, just so you understand. I think it's dog shit. Defend it now. Only better chance than the Biden admin. Defend it now. You have to be literally the fucking most delusional donkey on the planet if you think that I would ever in a million years defend the Biden administration's sanctions. There are some who are somewhat understandable, but just recognize that I'm not exactly a fan of Biden either. Libs be defending other liberal failures? Yeah, you might have thought that like I'm a libtard who defends the liberal administrations all the time or some shit. I was talking about Trump having a chance to stop the war before the Biden admin. Wait, what? I don't think Trump has a chance to stop the war before the Biden administration at all. I don't know what you're talking about. The only thing Trump will do that is different than the Biden administration for sure, if we're being really real, is he'll probably offer infinitely more favorable terms to Russia. And yes, there is a higher likelihood of Russia no longer pummeling Ukraine in the same way. But that same principle exists for Israel as well, even though I don't think you can actually have more favorable terms than Biden has given. Benjamin Netanyahu just simply likes Trump more and will most likely be able to permanently annex the West Bank under the Trump administration. So I guess that's one aspect that could cause a temporary halt in hostilities to make it seem like Donald Trump ended the war in Gaza, ended the genocide in Gaza, while simultaneously, once again, just like the Trump administration did, greatly accelerate the likelihood of a permanent annexation, permanent occupation worsening for the people of Palestine under the Trump leadership. Now, Kamala would do the same. Considering that genocide is the worst thing you can do to an entire population, there is not really much of a distinction here. But no, I don't think that Kamala Harris would. I don't think that Kamala Harris would be an advocate for the permanent annexation of the West Bank, whereas Trump, I do believe, would be, for the record. Not that it fucking matters in the current calculation, because the current calculation is genocide. Yeah, sure, bud. I mean, look no further than prior liberal administrations, guys. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? This is not a defense of like Kamala Harris, even a little bit. My analysis is never going to, my analysis is not going to be different here, okay? I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm even coming to the recognition here that like in order to like facilitate an immediate ceasefire, Benjamin Netanyahu might play ball with Donald Trump with all of the extra amenities that Trump will offer Benjamin Netanyahu down the line, potentially over Kamala Harris. Joe Biden is unique in terms of like how much of a dick rider he has been for Israel in terms of former liberal administrations. If you're going to look at this seriously, Barack Obama was technically less favorable to Israel than even other liberal administrations overall. They've still played the same song and dance all the way from Bill Clinton onward in terms of like defending Israel, lying at the behest of Israel, changing the public sentiment in an effort to make it seem like Israel wasn't always the ones ruining negotiations, and it was actually the Palestinians that were ruining the negotiations, blah, blah, blah. But overall, there are certain things that that no liberal nor prior Republican administrations ever did. Recognition for the permanent annexation of Syrian territory in Golan Heights. Trump did that. Okay? Moving the embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Jerusalem as Israeli territory symbolically. No prior administration did that until Donald Trump. There has not been a single comment from the administration regarding Israel seizing the West Bank except from John Kirby and Matt Miller. Yes, I'm telling you that Joseph Robinette Brandon, San Marino won a competitive game. What? Why are what the fuck is a San Marino? What? Your political commentary is so useful and good for the lib left, but lack of a movement from our party is beginning to leave the biggest sour taste in my mouth. Why can't the lib left no longer assemble en masse and fill all of Washington in the streets for what is necessary in our country? I don't know. I mean, they do that, and the media barely covers it. They did that for Palestine, and it didn't work. All right, let's get
a whole different ballgame as far as I was concerned. You know, we made a great China trade deal, maybe better than the USMCA, and I'd never talk about it because what happened with COVID for the whole world, $60 trillion and, you know, deaths, 70 million, 60, nobody even knows how many deaths. and it all came out of Wuhan. So it changed my relationship. But I think I'll have a great relationship with China. I had one before, and they respected us, but they respected us because they no longer thought we were fools. They used to think we were fools because we built China. They would take over $500 billion a year and use it for their military and other things, and we got nothing out of that. We got some cheap product. You can buy 19 pencils instead of 2. Who the hell cares? You can buy 16 dolls for your daughter instead of 2 nice dolls. And we got very little out of that relationship. They got a tremendous military power, and they still have it today. So, but I believe we will have a very good relationship with China and with a lot of other countries that we're not getting along with too well today. And things are going to straighten out. We're going to get them straightened out very quickly. Very important that we get along with the rest of the world. You know, we have things today called nuclear weapons. I rebuilt our whole military, including our nuclear capability. And so I got very familiar with it. And, you know, I say this often because I had an uncle who was the longest serving, I believe the longest serving, I was told that by MIT, but he was there 39, I guess, or 41 years, longest serving professor in the history of MIT, and nuclear was something he knew a lot about. And we used to talk about it. I'd say, Uncle John, there's no way. He was telling me about this incredible power that was being unleashed potentially. And I'd say, Uncle John, you could never. And you know what? He was very modest, because I've seen the destructive capability, and this world is going to have to get along, because if that's ever unleashed, we already have too many countries that have at least remnants of it, some of it. But probably 5 countries, if you think. And Kim Jong-un, when I went to the White House after winning in 2016, I sat with President Obama, which is a ritual. And you sit and you talk. And I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea is the biggest problem. I don't think it's solvable. I said, have you tried calling him or talking to him? And actually, the answer was yes, and he wasn't responded to. But I did, and we were very safe. It started off a little rocky, if you remember. Little Rocket Man, I called him, and he called me things too. He's got a red button on his desk. I said, I have a bigger red button, and my red button works. I said, and then it started getting a little nicer, and then one day I got a call that they'd like to meet, and it was a great thing. We had a great meeting. We had 2 meetings, actually 2 great meetings, summits, and we had no problem with them. Now they have a problem because they're not liking this administration. They don't respect this administration at all. So we have to get along. We have to get along. We can't have World War III. You're going to end up in World War III. Just like you should have never had Russia go in. It would have never happened if a competent person led us.
Peaceful Dove, peace through strength, still signaling that he is a peaceful guy. A lot of dummies will believe him.
It would have never happened. He led them into it. And I'm not blaming Biden. But you know what? What he was saying was exactly the wrong thing. I said, we're going to have an invasion because of a lot of the rhetoric. It was stupid rhetoric. But it would have never happened, not only for that reason. Oil was down low. You know, oil was almost at $100 a barrel. So Putin is one of the only people. I mean, nothing's easy in life. But Putin at $100 a barrel, war works. At $40 a barrel, it didn't work at all. So we're going to get back to a intelligently run place, a place where other countries aren't using the word nuclear. That word was never talked about because I knew the power of it. And I talked to Putin about it. I talked to President Xi about it. I think we were going to do, you remember the talk where we were going to reduce nuclear capability substantially. All 3 of us, we're going to start it. We're going to reduce very substantially. And then we had the election. And after the election, they didn't talk about that or anything else, frankly. But we have to be very, very careful because the destructive capability of nuclear, when people talk about global warming, I say the ocean is going to go down 1/100th of an inch within the next 400 years. That's not our problem. Our problem is nuclear warming. And we better be smart, and we better have smart people at the top that know how to deal, because these people don't know how to deal. Putin came out today, he endorsed Kamala, and I didn't know, was I supposed to call him up and say, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But he endorsed Kamala. I have a feeling, I don't know, I don't know exactly what to say about that. I don't know if I'm insulted or he did me a favor, but we have to get along with the world. We can't have war because the destructive capability, you can be the head of the biggest bank wherever the hell Jamie is sitting. You can be the head of the biggest bank in the world, and a couple of nukes and your bank doesn't mean a thing. You gotta get along. This is such an important job. It's a dangerous job too. Very dangerous job. If you look at statistically, being president is very dangerous. That throbbing feeling I have. Oh, that throbbing feeling. No, it's a very dangerous job, and you have to do it right. And if you don't do it right, bad things will happen to the world. Things like you've never seen before. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Popping off.
John Paulson behind me to your right, Mr. President.
Hi, John.
First, let me thank you for your presentation today. President Trump, in the last fiscal year, the fiscal deficit under the Biden administration was approximately $2 trillion. Under the policies you've announced, the deficit would come down from items such as increased revenues from tariffs, as well as eliminating the tax incentives, the Green New Deal. These gains would be mitigated by decreases in revenues from policies such as no tax on tips. Overall, what do you estimate will be the impact of the fiscal deficit from your policies?
Well, we just hit record highs at numbers that nobody ever thought possible. You're right, it's over $2 trillion. Nobody thought that was a number that was, I mean, you could go back 4 years, nobody thought a number like that would be possible. It's crazy, it's just horrible, actually. But yeah,
How'd that happen?
$2 trillion, and I view it as profit and loss to a certain extent. A lot of people say, oh, it's trade. You know, you have many people say trade deficits don't matter. I think they matter a lot. We're going to have tremendous growth. What I'm talking about is all about growth. The tax is relatively minor compared to the growth. We're going to make our money back on growth. We're going to also, we're going to grow like nobody's ever grown before. I think if this all works out, you're going to have the auto industry come back to America. Right now, China is building 2 auto factories in Mexico, massive auto factories. And they think they're going to make their cars in Mexico and send them back into the United States with no tax. It's not going to happen. Under this administration, it's going to happen. And they wanted to do that.
Literally, both of the admins have the exact same opinion on tariffs on Chinese-made automobiles. Like, literally, both. Straight up. China consents, Mexico consents. Is there someone you forgot to ask? No, I mean, you will, if I get a BYD, will you sign it? Yes. You will never get the Yangwang, and neither will I. And I want it really bad. I want the Yangwang U9 supercar, but I will not be able to get it because of both Joseph Robinette Brandon and Donald Trump. What is this?
During my administration, I said, if you do it, we're going to put a 200% tariff on every car, and you'll never be able to see it. There will never be one car coming across our border. And if I would have let them do it, we would have had these 2 factories. Well, now they're building massive factories, more than 2, and they're going to kill Detroit. And the head of the union, the United Auto Workers in Detroit, has done a terrible, terrible job, just a terrible job. But we're going to bring tremendous growth back. And remember, we're also taking in a certain percentage. I won't name the percentage today, but it'll be a certain tariff percentage, which will be higher than people had heard in the past. And we will be bringing in billions and billions of dollars, which will directly reduce our deficits. Okay? Thank you very much. Good job you've done, by the way. Very good.
Thank you. And the final question, Resma, is to you.
Thank you. President Trump, you talked about how the increase in the price of food, gas, and rent is hurting families. But the real cost that's breaking families' backs and preventing women from participating in the workforce is childcare. Childcare is now more expensive than rent for working families and is costing the economy more than $122 billion a year, making it one of the most urgent economic issues that is facing our country. In fact, the cost of childcare is outpacing the cost of inflation, with the majority of American families of young children spending more than 20% of their income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that both parties talk a lot about what they're going to do to address the childcare crisis, but neither party has delivered meaningful change. If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing?
Why does no one ever ask who pays the tariffs? The answer is consumers. And that's not a fun conversation to have for any administration, whether it be the Biden administration or whether it be the Trump administration. A U.S. Department of Agriculture study found the retaliatory tariffs from China during the tariffs war reduced U.S. agricultural exports by $27 billion from mid-2018 when the tariffs were imposed at the end of 2019. Trump fucked farmers. Yeah. You try to make up for it with additional subsidies. And yes, this is a room full of multimillionaires and billionaires.
Legislation to make childcare affordable, and if what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. You know, I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue, but I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that because childcare is childcare, there's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers.
Bro, people always talk about how great Donald Trump is at like contested interviews, but like, dude, he never answers the question. Like I've never heard this man. That was the most direct question you could have asked. What are the legislative items that you seek to push for and pass if you become president in terms of dealing with skyrocketing childcare costs? And he just literally did not even talk about it at all, bro. He just straight up was like, well, tariffs, China, we're going to deal with China. They're going to love the tariffs. He never fucking does this shit. He never responds ever. It's so fucking frustrating. And nobody holds him to account, dude. This is a puppet show, buddy. Presidents are not elected to people to protect people's interests. Yes, I know that better than anybody else, okay? I know that as well as I know that there's a 3-minute ad break coming for you right now. And if you want to change that reality for yourself, you need to subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. He just like hyper focuses on one thing. He just hyper focuses on one thing and just like stays on it. Like on the debate, it was immigrants. They'd be like, yo, Mr. President, how will you deal with the war in Ukraine? Immigrants are raping our children. They're doing it. They've killed 10 million Americans last week. I'm going to ship the immigrants to Ukraine. It's like, what the fuck? How are you going to fix the housing crisis? Immigrants are stealing our homes. We're going to ship the immigrants out. We're going to do mass deportation.
Numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country, because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is.
It's so funny because he's a room reader and he knows what room he's in. He's like, he basically told her to shut up, bitch. I'm in the fucking Economic Club of New York. Ain't nobody give a fuck about childcare in here. Shut your dumb ass up. It's time to talk about tariffs against China again. He like literally, he's just like, I'm not going to answer that question. What are you, fucking stupid? Nobody here has an issue with what you're talking about. Yeah, talk to me again when I'm in fucking Ohio or some shit, okay? These people don't want to hear about me spending dollars on the working poor.
Is that I just told you about. We're going to be getting in trillions of dollars. And as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trump. It's great that you accepted our invitation to be with us today. Thank you, Raj, Sander, John, and Reshma, for your questions. The president is now going to be leaving the building, and so we want to all stay seated while he and his team leave. But as he leaves, let's all say thank you one more time for him accepting our invitation to be here today.
Thank you, bro. That's a gift, by the way. Childcare is not that expensive. What a wonderful gift. I wonder if the Democrats will use it. Please. I mean, this is what I always say. Like, I watch the Democratic Party and the way they move, and I talk about how bad they are. And then all it takes is for me to see like 3.5 seconds of Donald Trump talking to immediately remind every single person that is in the chat that is constantly like, oh, you say Kamala Harris is going to win. Like, how do you say that? This is why. These guys are so fucking, they are so far up their own assholes, okay? I don't think personally that there are enough like conspiratorial weirdos out there that will vote for Donald Trump, even though he's president for the past 4 years, or not for the past 4 years. Well, he was too. He was still my president. But I don't think there is enough like non-voters he can activate with the crank vote that will come out in droves in swing states and fucking vote for him because of the RFK Tulsi Gabbard, you know, crank vote, the crank allegiance. When he's saying shit like this, and a lot of normal voters will go, what the fuck do you mean you don't think childcare is expensive? Let's see what the better answer is. Let's see what the better answer is.
The cost of daycare. Hayden, obviously a working family, and it's very hard for working families to get by. How will we lower the cost of daycare?
You know, such an important question, Charlie. And I think one of the things that we can do is make it easier.
Remember, this is the well-read guy who's like buttoned up. He's supposed to like fix the silly arguments that Trump makes. Hear how he answered
for family models to choose, or for families to choose whatever model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that you know, maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more, or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare. Now, you talk about just daycare. Let's say you don't have somebody who can provide that extra set of hands. What we've got to do is actually empower people to get trained in the skills that they need for the 21st century. We've got a lot of people who love kids, who would love to take care of kids, but they can't, either because they don't have access to the education that they need, or maybe more importantly, because the state government says you're not allowed to take care of children.
Oh my God. He said we need to deregulate childcare so that we can get sex offenders to be fucking in charge of childcare, okay? There's a lot of these people that are being held back by the nanny state that want to take care of your children, but they can't because the nanny state tells them no. Obviously, he's not talking about sex offenders there. I'm joking, but am I joking, really? Because, like, that's one of the regulatory mechanisms in action here. Maybe he'll deregulate that too. Folks, you know what I want to do? You know the random adults that you leave your fucking child with for 12 hours out of the day when you're at work slaving away? I want to make sure that those guys have less regulation. I want to make sure that the entry level for a job like that, a task that requires an unimaginable amount of confidence from the fucking family, I want to make sure that more people can join that job. Because right now, you know, first I think, you know, just ask your grandma to take care of the kid. And if you can't, if your grandma's dead, well, skill issue. We can get the local pedophile to do it. I love the Republican Party, man. They're so fire. What do you mean? This guy just wanted to fuck a 16-year-old. Is that even an issue? Now he can take care of your child, you know?
Unless you have some ridiculous certification that has nothing to do with taking care of kids. So empower people to get the skills they need. Don't force every early child care specialist to go and get a 6-year college degree where they've got a whole lot of debt and Americans are much poorer because they're paying out the wazoo for daycare. Empower working families, empower people who want to do these things for a living, and that's what we got to do. All right,
That's awesome. What a solution, dude. Deregulating the childcare industry will certainly have no unforeseeable consequences. That's cool. So JD Vance wants pedophiles to take care of your children when you're at work, slaving away. Donald Trump says childcare is not that expensive anyway. Who gives a fuck? And then you motherfuckers say, Hassan, how could you be confident that the fucking Kamala Harris campaign is going to actually win? Literally, do you hear what they are saying? Okay? And it's not necessarily like the out of touch idiocy that you hear from this campaign. And it's more so what that out of touch idiocy represents. If this is the forward thinkers in your party, then it shows me that your instincts are bunk. Okay? Just like I say the exact same shit. You are an expert at twisting their words. I'm an expert at twisting their words. Donald Trump literally said, childcare is nothing in comparison to the tariffs and the money we're going to make from the tariffs. That's number one. Number two, this guy literally did say, get grandma to take care of the kid. And if grandma's not around, then, you know, we need to fucking deregulate childcare. He said those words. What do you hear when he says those words? What's the difference between deregulating the border, though? Just like most migrants coming across the border are not rapists, most people who want to work in childcare are not pedos. I know, dumbass. I'm exaggerating in terms of the pedophile argument. Okay? I even admitted that I'm obviously being hyperbolic. I'm saying deregulating an industry that requires understandable certifications because they are tasked with an incredible job taking care of another person's children for extended periods of fucking time should have some certifications. What the fuck are you guys saying? How do you guys not hear that and go, oh my God, that sounds like an insane thing to say? If you can't understand it for childcare because you yourself are probably a child or have not considered this at all, like what kind of confidence is required to leave your fucking children with a goddamn adult? If you can't imagine that, then you should probably, I don't know, apply that exact same ideological principle of deregulation to something that you do know about. Maybe your workplace, for example. Maybe you can understand it that way. It's a really cool way to understand things that you cannot personally comprehend. Here, a comparable industry would be pet sitters. A chatter is correct on this. Okay? There's not a lot of certifications for pet sitting. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry can do that. Would you entrust a random stranger that you have a lot of confidence in to take care of your pets with your children?
Who can? I mentioned we had this terrible shooting in Georgia. Right. Our prayers are with our friends in Georgia. And I've been doing town halls and interviews in public with you for all these years since you got into the political arena. And I told this audience, never before have restrictions been so tight, obviously after the assassination attempt as well. And Director Wray said the threat level has never been this bad. He said it 5 consecutive times before Congress. What is going on?
Well, it's a sick and angry world for a lot of reasons. And we're going to make it better. We're going to heal our world. We're going to get rid of all these wars that are starting all over the place because of incompetent American leadership. And we're going to make it better. You know, Viktor Orban made a statement. They said, bring Trump back and we won't have any problems. He was very strong about that. So we're going to hopefully do very well. We have an election coming up. And actually, you know, they keep saying 60, but it starts in Delaware and North Carolina and other places a lot sooner than that. So we're going to be, I think we're going to be very well set up to do a great job. And do we love Pennsylvania? Do we love it?
I will never get over the Viktor Orban mention. Like, dude, it's such a funny thing to say. It's his version of like, we did NATO. Like, I know that like the Republican Party through its like media apparatus has done a shit ton to hype up Viktor Orban, right? Like he's a known entity. He's not like some rando. But even then, incredibly funny to just be like there is no, like the equivalent would be, like I said, Joe Biden talking about like fucking the leadership of Estonia. Like who gives a fuck about Viktor Orban, man? You are benefiting him more than you are benefiting your campaign every time you fucking mention him. Viktor Orban said I'm great.
Let me ask you, Mr. President, let me ask you this. This is a very tough interview. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most. So we have all of this. Now, let me talk about, in 6 days, you will have probably your only opportunity to debate Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Chatter, shut the fuck up. I already ran the ad break. Don't come in here with this bullshit.
If I vote instead of George Stephanopoulos' network that I get to moderate the debate. Just say. But ABC is not.
John, ABC is the worst network in terms of fairness. They had a poll where I was 17 points down a couple of days prior to the election. I was 17 points down in Wisconsin. And they do that so people don't vote because, you know, hey, I love Trump, but he's 17 points down. I'm not going to go out and vote. I was 17 points down and I won. And I called the best pollster. I said, why wouldn't they say 5 or 4 or 3? Because at 3, you go and vote. At 17, your people say, I want to vote, but, you know, I'm busy. I have other things to do. Let's go see a movie and we'll watch the results later. They are the most dishonest network, the meanest, the nastiest, but that was what I was presented with. I was presented with ABC, George Slopadopoulos, you know who he is, and he's a nasty guy, and yet he's a nasty guy. I've had him up to here, but let me tell you, he's a very, very bad.
Dude, the Barbussies are quaking right now. I'm sorry. He's got every Deborah in the building so goddamn wet. I just heard them. They're fucking going feral. Look.
Yet, he's a nasty guy. I've had him up to here. But let me tell you, he's a...
I love you, Mr. President. I want you to fucking... I want you to carve out my Barbussie. Wow!
Very, very bad kind of a guy. But I watched his interview of Joe Biden. It was like the softest interview I've ever seen. It was softer than the CNN interview of Kamala. So, but they're very nasty. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching to see how nasty they are, how unfair they are. I agreed to do it because they wouldn't do any other network. The other thing is, her best friend is the head of the network. Her husband's best friend is married to the head of the network, and they're going to get the questions. I've already heard they're going to get the questions in advance. They even have Donna Brazile. Remember Donna Brazile? She gave Donna Brazile. She's the real beauty. Donna Brazile. She gave Hillary Clinton the questions. You remember that? And she works for ABC, and she's at the round table talking about the debate. So we're going to watch very closely, but you're not allowed to do it. We even have a clause in the contract. You can't give them the questions, but I'm not sure it's going to help her that much, though. I think you might give her the questions and give her the answers with the questions. I'm not sure it's going to help her.
All right. Now, so unlike Kamala Harris, our time is actually up. However, we're going to let Dave McCormick ask the first question, and we're going to air that not tonight, but tomorrow night.
He always does this, you know.
I do.
Our time's up, but you know what? Let's make two.
Fighting inflation is one of our...
Donald Trump, Kamala Harris has no idea what she's doing and will cause a depression. These sitcom ass laughs, bro. What am I hearing? Dog, what you are hearing is like real American voters. Okay, those are actual people who are going to go out and vote. What you're hearing are the American fascists. Okay, the fucking suburban warriors, the people who are ride or die, deeply invested in the MAGA cause. YouTube comments. I mean, those are ironically the people who write the YouTube comments. Let us become unburdened by what's been by voting for Trump. Trump fans. Janet Johnson. Sorry, Harris not getting my vote. Can't afford your tax plans. Like, dude, there is 0% chance that you are going to be taxed a single fucking penny more. You are a random username on YouTube. There's got to be a bot.
Our administration's top economic priorities.
Was it wrong to consider inflation transitory? I mean, these price spikes seem like they're going to be with us for a while.
We have to address the fact that
We got to deal with the fact that folks are paying for gas, paying for groceries, and need solutions to it.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
And it's rough. Groceries, the cost of groceries has gone up. The cost of gas has gone up.
Bro, I hate this shit because it's like the fracking shit is the same as like coal miners, but we just moved on to fracking instead. Like in key states, there's like 20,000 jobs that actually pertain to fracking, but like 1 million people minimum who care about it. Like if it goes away, they'll die.
And as this is all happening in the context of 2 years of a pandemic, it's one of the highest priorities actually for the president and for me.
That is called Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics, and we are very proud of Bidenomics.
All right, we continue she's very proud of Bidenomics. With Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that was Kamala Harris touting her pretty radical beliefs on the economy in her own words. According to Kamala, her values have not changed. We don't know where she stands because she's only done an interview for 16 minutes and 29 seconds spoken. So on the issue of the economy, how many of you in this room, and you can all close your eyes so you're not looking at your neighbor, have struggled economically in the last number of years? Wow.
It's actually not that bad because, you know, conservatives for the most part are wealthier than Democrats on average. So, you know, I love that they're not even lying.
And when I started my adult life, I struggled to pay my rent. You know my jobs. I've listed them 100 times, working in the service industry and bartending and cooking and washing dishes and construction. At McDonald's, that was a lie. And
By the way, she didn't work at McDonald's, right?
She did not. Well, there's no evidence of it.
Did she work at McDonald's? Because
so far, no evidence.
I don't think so, based on what I saw.
Here's my question. She wants to raise corporate taxes. She wants to raise small business taxes, capital gain taxes, estate taxes, the international corporate minimum tax, to the point where America won't be competitive anymore. And your tax cuts are about to...
There's nothing funnier than having a room full of fucking hogs, some of which unironically are broke, celebrate a fucking billionaire whose first job was being the son of a multimillionaire real estate developer, go, oh my God, oh, hell yeah, brother, you're right, she's fucking fake, she's a phony. It's like, bro, listen, she was a cop, not the best job, okay? Not a big fan. But the idea that, like, you are closer to Donald Trump in terms of, like, your lived experience, your class interest than Kamala Harris is so fucking stupid. Oh my God.
To expire in 2025.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the economy? What does it mean for everybody here struggling?
So I gave you the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. If you let the Trump tax cuts expire, which she wants to do, she wants to terminate them. If you do that, you will suffer the biggest tax increase in history. There's never been a tax increase like it.
Wait, dog, you did that. No, that's his tax cuts that are slated to expire. Dog. Oh my God. You at the time thought you would be a 2-term president. You were wrong. And you literally wrote the tax proposal in a way that all of those people in that room would actually get tax hikes by 2025, except for the 1%. The top tax bracket and the corporate tax rate is permanent. Every other tax rate beyond it is not. It is slated to fucking sunset. Problem is, he wrote it like that. God, I fucking hate how stupid Americans are. Like, I get really mad about the Democrats in general because, like, they're so fucking close in their policies, in the hurt that they contribute to the Republican Party. But god damn, the moment that I see a fucking room full of hogs, I literally turn into a JD Pond for permanent first world genocider, dude. Like nothing immediately snaps me out of like wanting to take care of our fellow man by just like hearing a bunch of cackling fucking hyenas in a goddamn room advocate against their best interest, like their immediate best interest. It makes me so fucking mad, dude. Like, Hey, Hassan, have you tried not complaining? Good one, dude. You fucking did it. Good one. I'm a political commentator, dude. This is what I'm doing, okay? I'm serious. Like, it just, all of the complaints does not equal commentary. What? Anytime someone says something, anytime someone in the chat says the dumbest thing you've ever heard, there is going to be a dumber bitch that goes, exactly. That guy is right. No matter what. Anyway, so very, very frustrating stuff to see like a bunch of modern American fascists just sitting around in a room and being like, hell yeah, Mr. President, I don't want my taxes to be increases. Like, it did. Okay, it did. My first chat, he calls me out, typical cringe. Yeah, well, don't say something cringe then, the good man Jack. Fuck you mean?
On top of which, she wants to add a lot of tax. This country will end up, and I've said this a lot, and I mean it. This country will end up in a depression if she becomes president, like 1929. This will be a 1929 depression. She has no idea what the hell she's doing.
What if unrealized capital gains taxes were implemented? What would
she wants to do that. This is where you have something, you don't even know what the value is. I tell you what, if that's going to happen, go out and open an appraisal company because you're going to make a fortune. That's about the only group that's going to make it, and accountants. It is the craziest idea. And remember this, very rich people and big international corporations, they don't have to stay in the United States. And they will be forced to leave for other countries. They can't afford to do a thing like that. They may have great wealth and no cash, and they're going to have to pay cash. Where are they going to get the cash? If they do that, the unrealized capital gain, it's you know, it's been talked about for a few years by ultra-left Marxists only, like her father's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist teacher of economics. Can you believe this? But if that happened, this country, and I think forgetting about that particular, she's got a lot of things that are just as bad. If she gets in, I think we will have a depression, 1929 style depression. That's what I think will happen to our country. Already they've set us on a path.
What about price gauging, as she calls it, or gouging?
Well, she called it gauging.
And what if they implement that and then price controls?
Yeah.
That's been tried in
many times.
The former Soviet Union, Venezuela, even in this country in the 70s, it was a disaster.
Yeah. Every time it's been tried, no matter over hundreds of years, not just over hundreds of years, price controls, you end up with no product, you end up with massive inflation, and you end up with the destruction of a country.
How does this impact? How do high interest rates impact? How does inflation?
Communist Richard Milhouse Nixon, just so you remember. Okay, you need to remember something. Did you see the shooter's mugshot? No. You need to remember something. This motherfucker said this, and what's really funny about it is currently polling at 83%.
Impact everybody that's here.
Well, they can't buy a home. They can't do anything. Your business is stopped up. You can't borrow money. And by the way, I had interest rates at 2%. Now they're 10%, but you can't get the money. You can't get the money. There's no money available.
Like, dude, what are you saying, brother? I mean, like, half of these fucking people are just clapping for no fucking reason, okay? Oh my God, the benefits of the interest rates. Like, I mean, I guess every American is in debt, so I guess interest rates do factor into their lives. It doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of like how much more significant it will be for corporations in general. But like, how do you respond to the claims that price control doesn't work? I don't know. I mean, just say it does. It's not even price control. We already have price control. I hate this conversation. The United States of America has price control, okay? Anybody that says it doesn't does not know how agribusiness works. Oh, we literally have price control in the form of subsidies, and it still doesn't fucking matter. Like, they still farm it out regardless. Ugh.
So 10% is right. You know, if you can't get the money, 10% is not the right number. It's got to be much more than that. You can't borrow money to buy a house now.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
No.
We did a good campaign, but the next time we had something special. We could talk about what we did, but we never could imagine we'd have borders where 20 million people have poured into our country. Many criminals from all over the world are coming into our country. They're coming from jails, from not just South America.
I understand why corporations can't leave the U.S., but why can't super wealthy individuals with their money? I don't know if you know this, but we're the goddamn United States of America. You do realize there's a shit ton of things that the American government could do that just refuses to do it outright. Okay? And I'm not talking about like the tax havens that already exist within the United States of America. I'm talking like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you taking your money away? Are you taking your assets away, dude? They saying on X that Al Jazeera was paying you on the low. Next time, watch out before you come for the beanie club. Al Jazeera was paying me on the low. I fucking wish, dude. I freaking wish, dog. The fuck? I don't know if these guys understand this or not, but no, I'm not being paid by Al Jazeera. I wish I was, and I would stand by that fucking decision regardless, because they do phenomenal fucking work in terms of covering the genocide in Gaza. Anyway, let's get back to it.
America from all over the world. They're coming in at levels that no.
He's joking. No, I know. I did work for a company that turned into Al Jazeera. I mean, Al Gore literally sold current media to Al Jazeera, like the TV channel. And a lot of the employees, many of which were my coworkers, then ended up working for Al Jazeera Plus and AJ America. It's also a very good company in general. I'm a straight up fan.
Nobody's ever seen. They're coming.
Just don't ask him about, you know, Qatar related politics.
From prisons, they're allowing prisoners to come out of all countries. They had almost 180 countries represented over the last number of months. 180. Most people don't.
Anyway, we were talking about. By the way, that was Connor. He was joking, but the thing that I was going to talk about is like, we are the American government. Okay, we are the American government. The reality of the matter is there are many different ways that you can force motherfuckers to pay their taxes. Okay? Strip them of their assets, seize it, arrest them for tax evasion. No. Stop trying to get me to vote for Kamala. Definitely a top 10 use of the without evidence crutch. Former President Donald Trump, in a speech Thursday to Jewish Republicans, repeatedly denigrated Jewish Americans who vote for Democrats and warned without evidence that Israel will no longer exist if Vice President Kamala Harris becomes president. Oh, one can only wish, dude. Identity, piece by piece. You can say bye-bye to the apartheid. That's what they're calling it, folks. I've learned a lot. Couldn't the government just say we're going to sanction you if you try to evade your taxes and engage in capital flight? Yes. You said you would get a tour bus the door knock for Harris, right? I did say that, except Kamala Harris did not say that. If she did, I would.
I don't know that you have that many countries. They're emptying out their prisons and jails. They're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums. They're emptying out the sickest people, and they're emptying all into the United States. And you said it better than anybody. More terrorists have come into the United States in the last 3 years than I think probably 50 years. There's never been anything like it. These people are so bad. They're so dangerous. What they've done to our country is they're destroying our country, and we can't let this happen. If they won, you'd have not 20 million, you'll have 100 million people. You won't have Social Security. You won't have Medicare. You won't have anything already. If you take a look at the numbers, they're filling up and loading up Social Security, Medicare with illegal immigrants that have come into our country, many of them from jails and many of them from very bad places. And we're not going to destroy our country, Sean.
I'm going to play Kamala Harris and the comments that she has made about the border, because I think this is important. I want to play her in her own words about this. You're right. We have people, almost 11 million plus. We don't know how many gotaways there are. We have hundreds of known terrorists that have entered the country. We don't know what countries they've come from. We're allowing people in. They've come in from Iran, Syria, Egypt, Afghanistan, China, tens and tens of thousands, Russia, Venezuela. I don't think they're coming here because they want a better life, as maybe some other people are. and we know nothing about them. We haven't vetted them. I scroll the names often on this show of people that have been murdered, people that have been raped, people victims of violent crime. And this is all happening by unvetted, harassed Biden illegal immigrants. What is your, well, I can play your tape. I'll play that maybe after your answer, but what is your reaction to you've spoken to some of the families of loved ones.
I said at the beginning, I said, when I heard they were going to have open borders, they want open borders. She wants open borders. Now she's all of a sudden saying, oh, I think we'll close the borders. She was the border czar, whether you like it or not. But even if you don't want to use that term, she was in charge of the border. It's the worst border in the history of the world, not just here. There's never been a country that allowed 21 million people to come in over a 3-year period. There's never been. And 21 million people, many of whom are from prisons, many of whom are murderers and drug dealers and child traffickers. And by the way, women traffickers. You know, women trafficking is the biggest, and they're traffickers in women. And they're coming in now, and they're putting them in our Social Security accounts, and they're putting them in our care. And just one thing, if you take a look over the last week, I said this was going to happen, and it's happening. Because these people are tougher than our criminals. Our criminals are nice people by comparison. That's the only good thing. We're showing how nice our criminals are.
What the fuck?
They came from 22 people recently came from the Congo in Africa. Where do you come from? Prison. What did you do?
It's showing how nice our prisoners are. It's showing how nice our criminals are. It's such a funny, dude. What are you saying, dude? Like dude, he literally is just like two things. One, also Jason from Vancouver, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Two things. One, like I do legitimately now believe firmly that when he says asylum seekers, I think he means like insane asylum. And two, I also think he meant like when he talked about like black jobs, he was being a racist. He was like talking about crime. He's like, they're coming to steal the black jobs, which I believe are crimes, criminal jobs. They're stealing jobs from our domestic criminals. Okay? I think that's what he's talking about. Straight up.
We refuse to say, we're letting everybody in. We're letting everybody in. Take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings, the whole town. And the sheriff, who can blame them? I mean, they have AK-47s. You saw it the other day. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified, and it's getting...
By the way, as I called it yesterday or 2 days ago, when I actually covered the Aurora situation, when I talked about the misinformation, and I was right. That YouTube video, it's an incredibly viral story. An incredibly viral story. 84,000 views. Ain't nobody wants to hear the truth. Okay? Remember when I told you, like, it's barely going to crack 100K? That's it. That's it. Nobody wants to hear what the correct situation is. They just want a narrative that corresponds to their biases. So the Venezuelan gangs taking over Colorado apartment building. Story appears to have been fabricated by a slumlord trying to wiggle out of a building court with the help of a crisis PR agency specializing in cancel culture. Can't make this stuff up. Yeah, I mean, we covered this, yes. I covered this exact story that Rebecca Burns is posting from Westward. 4 linked to Venezuelan gang arrested at Arapahoe County apartment. I don't know if you know this, but 0 people said there are no gang members. Okay? Like, no one. But he got a point. Wouldn't you agree that there's a spike in crime after mass immigration? Those two have to be connected. No, you fucking idiot. Crime is lower than it has been historically. You fucking dumbass. Shut the fuck up. There's a spike in mass immigration and crime is lower than it's ever been. Fuck. Oh, my grandma asked about the Venezuela story the other day. I was able to sift through all the misinfo she heard because of your coverage. Yep. That's why I do what I do. Can you chill out? No, man, I can't. Because it's like dealing with fucking flat earthers, dude. Okay? It's like dealing with flat earthers every single goddamn day. 8 hours a fucking day.
Damn, this guy's good.